Got a minute. That's what it was.
Closes out the 2024 football season on the road Saturday at Mercer, and you can catch all the action on the Fan Upstate. Hi, everybody. Dan Scott, glad you joined us. Boy, David Calvin, as the Powellins go on the road to try and wreak havoc with Mercer's seeding hopes in the FCS playoffs. Pepsi countdown to kickoff will begin at 1:30 with the kick at 3 o'clock. Furman and Mercer, and you'll hear it all on the Fan Upstate.
Early birds get the sports scoop.
Technical problems. Got it all sorted out because professionals and stuff. Yeah.
All right, after some technical issues, the live stream is up and running. You can join it at facebook.com/thefanupstate or by searching and subscribing to the Fan Upstate on YouTube. Also, the Rob Brown Show on YouTube, the Rob Brown Show on Facebook, and the Rob Brown Show on Twitch. If you're one of them there Gen Zers, if you're a Twitcher, if you've ever watched somebody play video games on Twitch for entertainment, you might as well come hang out with us in the mornings.
Oh, it kills me. Watching my we've been playing Spyro, and it kills me.
What a throwback Spyro is.
They just dropped it on Game Pass, all three of them, and I never played the other two. But
that might be a flashback to young Rob Brown experience there.
Yeah, and so I'm teaching her to play that, but she cannot turn the camera correctly, and it drives me nuts. I hate watching someone else play, even when they're related to me. I'm like, would you please just turn the camera? I am, Papa. It's like, no, you're not. I'm genuinely getting frustrated over an inability of a 6-year-old to turn a camera.
We were having a discussion during the break that Lonzo goes to bat for his people. All right. Lonzo goes to battle for his people. The idea that I will go to battle for my people, Zoe, is chewing out his 6-year-old granddaughter because she can't operate a video game third-person camera is hilarious. Objectively hilarious.
Yeah, gaming is totally different. I mean, I'm trying to teach her, and you got to find a method of teaching. Some people, when you're teaching them, it's just like training someone at work. Some need a little coddling. Some need hey, good job, man.
Some need a kick in the ass.
And some need a little.
You're saying your 6-year-old granddaughter needs a kick in the ass sometimes?
It's not. I don't want to say adversarial. It's more of.
But it's not.
It's more of a talk stuff to somebody, and that's what she's motivated by.
I mean, so are you. So I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. All right. We got a lot of stuff we're going to get to here on the radio program today. We'll let you know a brief programming note. Rashad Beard does have a meeting with M today, so he is going to be moved to tomorrow. We will have Rashad Beard on the show tomorrow at 8:40, but we will have Lulu Kesson at 8 o'clock as usual. We'll talk South Carolina Gamecock football with Lulu Kesson at 8. We will have Hayden S. Mario at 9, and we will have Fight Club with the great Lonzo coming up at 9:20 this morning with no shortage of pro wrestling, MMA. Are we talking Mia Chichbones today?
No, because of the dust up earlier in the week. I'm done with that weekend. We are talking all wrestling. There's a pay-per-view this weekend from AEW, and then there's Survivor Series the following week, but we won't be here. So we're going to go ahead and protect that.
Oh, too. God, 2 weeks out?
Yes.
Oh, that's going to make it tough.
Well, I mean,
that makes some of them tough.
Some of the matches are set, and there's a couple predicted matches that I think will happen. But the AEW thing happens this Saturday. So
okay, I'll save my AEW take till we get there. But 9:20 Fight Club.
We've had this discussion off the air, and if we have it on the air, it might cost us some things, but that's okay.
I mean, listen, you got to do what you got to do, and I hope not. I hope not, but I got to say what I got to say because, as always, I'm a man of the people. So we'll get to that coming up at 9:20. Do have some other stuff that I'll get to. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, so but I am. I was tagged. In fact, who was it? Was it Steven? I don't know. Whoever it was that tagged me last night in a video on Twitter. So that I need to share.
It's Zach. It's right
Was
there.
it Zach?
It's Zach right
Okay.
there.
Well, I have my stream is minimized over there because I had other stuff going on trying to figure out my life.
He thinks of the Armada as one big
Hive
Armada.
mind.
Yeah.
Hive mind. I have a video that I'm gonna put up on the stream. It's from social media. All right, and I want to show this to you, Lonzo, and I just want your reaction to what we are watching here. Okay, this video is a video that comes from a practice of the Florida State University Seminoles. Okay.
Oh boy.
I'm not even going to play-by-play it. I just want you. You know what? I want you to play-by-play it. Great one. I want you to tell me your thoughts in real time.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh wait, we're not done. Here comes another one.
Okay. All right. So it's one of those where you face each other, you turn away, you go back 5 yards, and you come back. There's a defender and there's a runner of the ball.
Yeah, it's kind of Oklahoma drilly, right? It's kind of Oklahoma drilly. It's not the classic Oklahoma drill. They put a cone. The ball carrier and the tackler stand heel to heel. They both run 5 yards in the opposite direction.
Oh, this is so bad.
They turn around and run at each other, and between the two cones, now let me see if I can come up with the reason that maybe this isn't as bad as it looks.
They
And if you're not,
don't seem to be going full contact. Like so I don't think they're supposed to tackle or anything, but I don't understand the purpose of this drill.
and that's my thing. And listen, we there's a lot of drills that the common us are gonna watch and maybe not necessarily be able to say, oh, the point of this drill is that, right? I wonder if the point of this drill maybe is it more either ball security or pursuit angle. And I know it's not great radio because those of you that are purely listening on radio can't see it, but all you need to know is ball carrier tackler, they run 5 yards on a diagonal, they run back at each other, and then the ball carrier tries to get by the tackler.
I don't think it's pursuit angle because I think you would do that from a further distance.
Well, so in the old pursuit angle drill, that's pretty classic amongst football teams. They will line up the defense in the defense, right? Like you'll line up in your base defense, and then the offense will run a play. It's usually like a skeleton crew, and based on where the ball goes, you take your pursuit angle. So if the ball goes to the right, if you're the defensive end, you know your pursuit angle is, back and 30 yards past wherever you are. That's your pursuit angle to get there, whatever. And everybody's got a distance behind the ball that is their pursuit angle based on where the ball carrier is. So my second thought is maybe this is a ball security drill, because you'll notice that, especially in the clip that just ran there, when the ball carrier goes backwards, though, there is a dude back behind him wearing a boxing glove that tries to punch the ball out, right?
Yeah, I missed that initially.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm wondering if this is. Here's what I do know. For a 1-9 football team, I would never have let this hit the internet. Right? For a 1-9 football team, I would not have let a video of defender. If that is their effort at a tackle, it's the most embarrassing thing. Like maybe I'm hoping for the Noles' sake, it's a drill that teaches ball carrier to break down a defender, right? If you're a ball carrier, if you can get to the point where you can stutter step and you can break down a defender, meaning you can get the defender to sink down into the hips and stop his lateral movement. You take away his ability as he approaches you to flow left or flow right to stop him. You want to break him down so there's no left or right movement. There is only forward. If I can get you to break down, I go back to having the advantage. If the ball carrier moving towards me knows and can adjust to me going left or right as a ball carrier while staying in forward motion, he has the advantage. But if I can get that defender to break down, to stop movement left and right, and make it where he is only capable of forward momentum, now as the ball carrier, I have the advantage back because I get to determine, am I going left or right? And he has to react to that. And that split-second reaction time may be the difference between a good, solid foundational tackle and an arm tackle I can run through. So I hope that that's what this drill is for, is breaking down a defender.
Right.
But if I was Florida State, I never would have let this see the light of day.
Why are they practicing inside?
I mean, that was Mike Norvell's decision, I guess.
I know, but why are they practicing inside? It's Florida. Are they also coddled to the point where it's too hot outside, so they can't be outside practicing?
Why? Okay,
was there inclement weather? I mean, I'm just curious.
I don't know was the answer, but let's assume it's 72 and sunny as always. What is the holdup about people practice? Is this just a that ain't how it's supposed to be mentality?
You are talking about coddling, and it looks like you're being coddled playing practicing inside. Let's get outside.
So it is a that ain't how it's supposed to be. Y'all supposed to be tough.
I'm just
Big Ten football.
Rob, maybe this is part of the problem. I'm just saying.
Clemson practices inside
all the time.
South Carolina practices inside
all the time.
No, but this is one clip of one drill from one practice.
You know when they practice inside? When there's bad weather.
You're aware of Clemson's indoor-outdoor practice schedule?
Well, they practice inside when there's bad weather. I'm looking through the Dallas Cowboy windows there, and it looks like the weather is probably fine.
I think there is plenty of reasons to on Florida State right now.
How quickly you defend. That's all.
It's not defend. I defend from bad takes. Okay. I'll defend anybody from bad
that's
takes.
What it is. They're SAWFT, and that's probably part of their problem.
I will defend
up
from
75
bad takes.
today, fellas. Let's practice inside. Don't want you to get too hot or sweaty or anything like that. Let's practice inside.
I hope your granddaughter never learns how to work a third-person video game camera. I hope she spins that thing in circles forever.
Oh, she's getting better at it.
I hope she drives you insane. All right. Noted Charleston Southern guy Joey B on the stream said, I've never been more convinced the Bucks are going to win on Saturday. CSU. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Florida State can upset Charleston Southern on Saturday.
If they practice outside, maybe.
Oh, shut up. Stop it. We'll be come back here in just a minute. The NFL has announced its modern era Hall of Fame nominees for 2025. Let's take a look at some of the guys that are on it. See who we want to eliminate from Hall of Fame contention in year number one when we come back on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
No, Joe, it's because they're men. That's why. Men practice outside. Manly men. Uncoddled men. Men that want to feel real dirt underneath their fingernails.
Alonzo, you're being a boomer. You're being very boomer right now.
I can't be that because I'm not that old.
We practice outside because we can't afford a facility. It's just me, but I'm not going to have my fingernails long enough to have dirt under them, Lonzo. Yeah, Lonzo is anti-nail care.
Okay. I clip them like every other red-blooded male. Don't go have some fancy woman massage massage my cuticles.
That a big practice outside guy says the word woman.
Exactly. Don't need my cuticles massaged. That's why why those guys are soft. By the way, Jacob, I didn't say clay. I mean, you're going to have to dig into the ground to get clay, but there's dirt, out there that you can just if you're a heavy person, if you're a lineman, it's hard to, I know your stance is supposed to be light, but sometimes, fourth quarter, it gets pretty down in there a little bit. All I want to say, Jacob, you can't rub dirt on it if you can't reach into the dirt.
What are you talking about right now?
You ain't hurt. Rub some dirt on it. You can't rub dirt on it if you can't get in the dirt. Like you've never heard that.
No, I've heard rub dirt on it. I just didn't know what you were trying to.
Well, how would you get said dirt?
No, that was.
Is someone going to come over with a little pail and shovel and go, here's some dirt?
Rub dirt on it if you can't reach dirt.
Right. You're going to have to reach down into the dirt to get the dirt to rub dirt on it. That's how digging works. Hey, Joe, quit using your French around here. Does that say Fugway? I don't know what that says. And I don't like anyone named Boomer. I'm Gen X, baby. Yeah, you would need that Teflon tape stuff. And so you technically couldn't rub the turf dirt on it because, I mean, That looked like that hard turf stuff in the Florida State practice facility where you.
Well, it's inside.
Yeah, so where you get like burn up.
Those pansies.
Exactly. Go outside, you sis. Why is this bothering you? So weird.
Because it's such a hard-headed, stubborn old man take.
Okay.
I also think we ought to get rid of the damn forward pass, run the football like a man. Yeah.
What southern accent is that? I mean, what dialect is that from? Is
the kind who thinks the practicing inside is for sissies.
Okay, I don't understand why my manly man interpretation is not southern, but yours is.
Because you think that that's like a genuine macho take, and I'm making fun of it.
Okay. You're making fun of somebody. You're making fun of the South, which I would never do.
You're making fun of the South. I literally am more Southern than you.
Well, that's absolutely without a doubt true. But my roots are in Kentucky. So, I mean, where are your roots? Your roots are in Louisiana. I mean, so from a geographical point of view, you're absolutely right.
From a geographical and also literally have never lived outside of the area.
Yeah, but unfortunately or fortunately, I don't. It depends on your perspective. A lot of people don't believe that Florida is southern, and mostly because a
They
bunch
ain't
of
been to
north
the damn Florida Panhandle
because a bunch of northern people moved down there and they lived there, and that's why there's
Right.
a bunch of northern accents.
down there.
Yeah.
I'm in the Panhandle. It is lower Alabama. The point here is I am not making fun of the South. I am making fun of the old school, we got to do it this way because that's tough mentality.
So all I want to say is, and this is a full circle conversation, but part of it's not on the air and won't be. Protecting your own and standing up for your guys and stuff. I'm seeing this sort of thing with your defense of Florida here, just because I said they're soft because they ain't went outside. The whole segment was to make fun of Florida State. I made fun of Florida State, and suddenly you're coming at me. I mean, I was going with it. I was being part of the show, part of the program, part of the team.
You're doing that thing where you put the goalpost on wheels and attached a semi to it. The point is
I
that
don't think you need a semi.
I was making
If it was on
fun
wheels. Anybody can.
of that drill because it looks awful. Okay, and then you start talking about a whole different thing, an entirely different thing. And this is where I am talking about with this old school mentality. I think holds a lot of people back. Like, if you're going to be tough, you got to do it the way we did in 1965. We didn't have no indoor practice facilities. Yeah, and I bet that sucked. You also didn't have Gatorade, and you drank water out of holes drilled in PVC pipes. Because and scratch that.
I'm guessing.
Scratch that.
I'm guessing
you
they
weren't
still do that. By the way,
you weren't allowed to have water during practices.
That's more like
I've watched the Junction Boys, and if you did that today, that coach would be arrested and thrown in jail because now we know that's a bad way to run the world.
Still,
it's a bad way.
I guarantee you that still goes on in some of the poorer parts of every state.
There it is.
Yes.
There it is. Maybe we shouldn't glorify the way they do it in the worst places. Okay. Maybe we should say, hey, there's better ways to do it, and this is the better way to do it. We should like have a Gatorade.
All right,
it's
Rob,
good for you.
Rob, share your wealth and go down to those poor places and buy them water.
I do.
bottles.
I am happy to pay taxes to schools when I ain't got kids because that is exactly what's happening.
Next time that you make fun of anything Florida, I'm just going to back off, except for Florida Gators, okay? Because Florida Gators directly make me think of Mark Ryan, so I'm always going to make fun of that. But everything else, I'll just stay back and go, I don't know, Rob, you tell me how to think.
Once again, Lonzo's ability to make this Rob beating up Lonzo is undefeated. It's undefeated.
You completely turned on me when we were making fun of Florida State, and now it's all everything's about me.
What I was making fun of.
My story, by the way.
Yes, I know it is your story. That is your story. What I was making fun of.
It's a video game reference.
If you missed it, is that hysterically.
You're right, Tracy. Gatorade's full of sugar.
Is that hysterically terrible looking video that Florida State allowed to go out on the internet at a point in time when they are 1-9, that they are at this point, I believe, like a 4.5 point favorite over sorry, Joey B, love you to death, bud, bad Charleston Southern team, even by Charleston Southern standards.
All I hear is go outside, nerd.
This whole thing, and listen, part of this is because when Florida State got their indoor practice facility, which was a massive project for them, something they had worked on fundraising for a very long time. I was broadcasting down in Florida, and
they use taxpayer dollars for that.
I'm sure that partially.
Wow, that would suck to pay for that, and there's a product on the field that you get. You're taking this money out of my pocket, and this is what I get.
So when they started building this facility, and I don't know if the same thing happened to you guys up here when Clemson and South Carolina built their indoor practice facilities, but there was a lot of I'm gonna say and generalize and paint here with a real big brush, a lot of older football fans that were like, oh, this is soft, this is weak, practice outside like men. And that old school boomer mentality is what Jerry Jones has right now. Look at the Dallas Cowboys, right? Like that's what happens when you are unwilling to adapt and change. Here's the thing. If you want to instruct, coach, educate, and help someone progress, the best thing you can do is to limit distractions. There is a time for increasing toughness. And when you are saying, I think this is what is being said, when you are saying, practice outside, go outside, nerd. When you are talking about getting, like, they should only practice outside, what you are saying is they need to be tougher, right? Practice in the sunshine, in the heat of Florida in August. Be tougher, be tougher. There is a time and a place to work on toughness. But I also think we all acknowledge that at this point, if you're going to be a professional football player, if you're going to be a high-level college football player, gone are the days of let's put a dude missing his front teeth with crossed eyes and a cowboy collar at middle linebacker. You got to be smart as hell. Offenses are so advanced and dynamic that you got to be smart. So there's a time to train up your toughness and your stamina and your perseverance. But football is as much about being an educated football player as ever before. And if I need to make sure that my middle linebacker isn't going to get fooled every time Lenora Sellers runs a play action and get cooked like Mizzou and A&M did, bringing him outside when it's 102 degrees or it's in the middle of the rain, I can't most efficiently coach him in that spot. I can't be out there going, if this, then this. If you see, then expect. If you react to, then do this next. I can't do that as efficiently as if we are inside, where there's no noise, where there's no, oh, it's hot, I'm dying, where there's no distractions, where everything is, every little control is up to the coach. And that is true about Clemson and South Carolina. It's true about Ryan Day in Ohio State and Kirby Smart at Georgia. Every coach wants an indoor practice facility because you can coach more efficiently inside of it than outside. That's just a fact.
And you can hide from cheaters and evil media.
I mean, I'm sure that is the take of some people. I'm sure that is the take of a lot of coaches. Absolutely. It is going to be harder for people to get my eyeballs or get their eyeballs on my product if we're inside four walls and a roof. But if I asked you, Zoe, to take one of our lovely producers and make them better, and I came in here before you were ready to teach them how to be a producer, and I cranked that AC up to 92, and I stood over in the corner, you wouldn't be able to do it. You'd go, this is not productive. I can't coach in this scenario.
I have no idea what you just said. I hope it wasn't dumpable. Usually I can
It was
understand.
just sounds. It was just sounds. It was
Okay.
for the
All
it was
right.
the sake of making obnoxious noises into the microphone because I know you're a big fan.
And I'm not doing the thth that you think I'm doing, but your scenario is unrealistic because
There it is.
it's never been that cold
There
in
it
here.
is.
It's so hot in here. I think you're just projecting, wishing it was that cold in here.
The hypothetical killer returns.
Well, no. The hypothetical killer is you adding all these other parts to this one
yeah,
thing.
that's how hypotheticals work.
Where I just decided to help you. You invited me to make fun of something, and I came at it from a different angle, and you don't like the angle. I mean,
That's exactly right.
I am not going to apologize for that. I gave you a different perspective. I guess you just wanted me to make fun of it the way you were making fun of it.
I'll tell you what it is. It's a bit of a sore spot for me. And it's a bit of a sore spot because of what I was talking about a minute ago. When I watched the construction process of this indoor practice facility in Tallahassee, when I was covering Florida State down in Destin, which is why I talk about that team. Of the teams that I am familiar with over the years, Florida State, Clemson, South Carolina are the top four. Alabama, LSU, and Auburn after that, because those are the markets I broadcasted in. Clemson and South Carolina obviously at the top because that's where I am right now. Florida State next because I was 2 hours from Tallahassee. That was the team that broadcasted in my market and on my station. And Alabama, LSU because I was on in Mobile, Alabama, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I covered those teams as well. And so when I watched this practice facility go up, and when I was watching Florida State go through the fundraising process and trying to get boosters on board, there was a lot of people who called the show back in the day, and they were like, this is just the sissification of America. We're making these kids soft.
So
It's like, that's a dumb take. Sorry.
They had that accent in Florida?
I don't think you understand what I mean when I say the Florida Panhandle. It's Pickens County on the beach. All right? And I say that with all due respect to Pickens County because, again, I grew up. You know what we were? Anderson with margaritas. That's what we were. I'm not like there's Destin, which was this little like on the beach tourism paradise. And then there's where I grew up in Shalimar. And you got to say it that way. Shalimar. All right. So, yes.
I love the band Shalimar. They're really good. Had a hit named Dancing in the Sheets. I believe that was
Was a
Shalimar.
band named Shalimar?
Yeah.
I'll be danged. I wonder if that's where we got the name. Probably not.
No, they're not that.
Probably-
This was
probably
yeah,
not.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point here is you hit a soft spot that I thought it healed.
Really? Really? Huh.
Yeah, it's just a bad take. It's just a bad take from people who don't understand. It's just a bad take from people who have never coached. That's it. It's just a bad take. What? They're soft. They ain't going to get it. It's like, do you think that Mike Norvell, okay, that's a bad example. Do you think that at the time, Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Bowden know less about coaching football players than Bill from Shalimar?
By the way, thanks, Zach. This is all your fault. And I researched that Shalimar did put out the song Dancing in the Sheets. I just want to be accurate.
What year?
Oh, dude.
How'd you not think to look at that? We just talked about how old they are.
Well, it was in the 90s, I believe, or late 80s.
Okay, well, Shalimar, Florida's older than that. So
Well, yeah, that's what they said.
sweet. I got a band that released a single named after my hometown. That must be it. All right. Now, when we come back in the next hour of the show,
1983.
that song's older than me. When we come back, barely, in the next hour, we'll do the water cooler cheat sheet, top 3 sports stories you need to know right out of the gate. We will do the NFL Hall of Fame class in segment number 2. Then segment 3, open to you guys, whatever you want to talk about. That is not domed practice facilities. 8 o'clock straight up. We'll be joined by the lovely Lulu Kesson of the Greenville News. Talk some South Carolina Gamecock football with Lulu coming up at 8 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, Hayden Ass Mario will join us to talk NFL, and maybe we sprinkle in some NBA. Lonzo's Fight Club at 9:20. Rashad Beard, 8:40 tomorrow on the show. All of that after Lonzo does this here, Sports Flash. Don't do it tough. Do it with toughness, aggression, like you practice outside.
The Atlanta Braves starting pitcher Chris Sale was named the National League Cy Young Award winner last night, awarded the league's best pitcher by Baseball Writers of America. Sale's comeback season received 26 of 30 first-place votes ahead of Zach Wheeler's 4. Sale finished 18-3 with a 2.38 ERA and 225 strikeouts. Indiana Fever phenom Caitlin Clark will not join the new women's unrivaled 3-on-3 league. According to reports, the league announced its 6 teams and most of the players yesterday for the league that will play in Miami in January. Hey, tune in this Friday at 7 p.m. as the Burns Rebels continue their run in the playoffs against the Spartanburg Vikings. It's Burns versus Spartanburg right here on your home for Burns Rebels football. The Fan, Upstate. So you may think you're a good troll. You ain't me. I do it when I don't even know I'm doing it. I need a vacation. Oh, look, over there. Not that far distant. A vacation. You know, believe it or not, I know all about Footloose, Joe, but I never saw Footloose. Maybe it's because dancing leads to fornicating. I mean, that could be it. Or it just came out when I didn't have money. I've seen it parodied. I've seen so many things about it. It's another one of those movies that I know everything about the movie, but never actually saw it. Yeah, let's see. 1983, poor in high school. Yeah, would not have been able to go see the movie. Now I got it stuck in my head, though. I mean, there are worse songs to be stuck in your head.
Oh, okay.
See, the thing is, I never saw Footloose. So,
Is it one of those now you've
no, I was in high school. We didn't have a whole lot of money. If we did go see a movie, it would be something that my stepdad wanted to see. And more than likely, it was something either horror film or sci-fi. So, nothing about dancing. And I disagree. I don't think you can change the world through dancing. So not everyone can dance. Although dancing is interpretive. Well, that's true. That's true.
That's not true. Lieutenant Dan probably couldn't dance.
Well, you can dance in your wheelchair. Do a Trump dance.
But you ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan. Sorry, that movie was on yesterday, and did I watch it? Yup.
That's funny, Wesley. Absolutely, I did. Majority of the movies in my young life were seen outside.
That movie theater ain't outside. You don't really love movies.
You're using that square speaker that you put on the window that you had to roll down manually. Although I must say the drive-ins now, they just have radio stations that you tune to, local stations, so you can do surround sound in your car while you're watching, which is kind of cool. At least the ones in Ohio did that. I haven't been to, there was one in Greenwood here. I don't know if it's still there or not.
And away we go. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show goes now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Great to have you. Hope you are well. Rob Brown, the great one, Alonzo, with you this AM. Want to be a part of the show? Easy to do. The Renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone is open for you. 844-FANFONE. That is 844-326-3663. The text line is available at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the show. You can get at us on the X, at the Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word. Get up at everybody in here at the Fan Upstate. If you'd like to come in that direction, you're welcome to. You can also shoot me an email if you want, rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. And do not forget about the Ray Memorial Hotline. Go to the Odyssey app, AUDACY. Put it on all of your digital devices. And when you do, go to the Fan Upstate page. Click on the Listen Live button. You will see a little circular microphone button. Click that button. You can leave up to a 60-second voice message. And when you do, it comes directly to the great one and I. We can listen to them during the break and edit them down because you can say whatever you want to say. I do encourage you to. I'm just saying the more you make me edit, the longer it's going to take to get on the air. Okay? It really is that simple.
Do not calling crack on Florida in any way. We saw what a mistake that was. It's like your buddy going, talking about his ex-girlfriend, and then you join in, and then he gets back with her. And then now that awkwardness is there. You don't know what to do.
My favorite video was going around a couple of weeks ago where it was this guy, and he's like with this girl that he had just proposed to. And he's like, hey, man, I'm calling to let you know she's not my girlfriend anymore. And the guy's like, good, I hated that bleep. And the guy's like, it's because she's my fiance now. He's like, I am so sorry. Genuinely good stuff. All right. And by the way, this is much like the blinds in Dallas conversation. It's not about the blinds. It's not about Florida. I got no reason I left Florida. All right. I got no reason to defend. I mean, I do love Destin. I love Pensacola, but I left
I just
Florida.
labeled a chapter, Lonzo is not a boomer, Rob, 3 exclamation marks.
I mean, I'm not saying you're a boomer. I'm saying you have a
You
boomer
did- you
take.
did.
You're saying you have a boomer take.
Yeah, but
There's
I
a
don't-
difference between being a boomer and having a boomer take. You have a boomer take.
Okay, well,
All right. It's
much-
very Midwest Ohio. I get it.
How would you know? How many people from Midwest Ohio do you know?
I lived in Florida a lot.
Okay, all right. Good point. Good point. You know all about Ohio and Michigan. Okay.
All right, it is 7:04 in the morning. You got just over 55 minutes until you got to get to work, get logged in, respond to all those passive-aggressive emails from the boss, and then once you do, you stand up, you walk down the hallway, you head to the water cooler, you glug, pour yourself a big old glass of icy, fresh, cool refreshment, and then you talk sports with your coworkers. And if you're going to talk about sports, you need to know what's going on in the world of sports. And if you need to know what's going on in the world of sports, ladies and gentlemen, you need this.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying, "Burn it down! Burn it down!" Their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with your coworkers. This morning, when you do, this is what you will be talking about. Let's dive right in with item number 1. Gino Auriemma, the head coach of the UConn women's basketball team, already a historic Hall of Fame, elite, maybe greatest of all time coaching career. The man has had 11 national titles, 23 Final Four berths, 15 of them coming out of the last 16 seasons. His UConn Husky basketball team has gone undefeated 6 times. He has a win streak of 98 games and a win streak of 111 games. Last night, in front of 60-plus former players and a sellout home crowd, Gino Auriemma's Huskies knocked off Farley Dickinson 85-41. Why is that important? Because it was Gino Auriemma's 1,217th win, making him the most winningest basketball coach in NCAA history for women's or men's for any division. The record breaker was his 329th victory of at least 40 points. He has had more than twice as many 40-point wins in his career as he has total losses. 1,217 wins passes Tara Vanderveer, who retired back in April of this year. He tied her last Friday, broke the mark last night. Auriemma said, we never sat down and said, hey, let's make a 40-year plan and see if we can make this happen. It's about coming here every day and trying to be better than we were yesterday. The game doubled as a celebration for Auriemma and longtime associate head coach Chris Daly's 40th season in Connecticut. Red T-shirts and lightning adorned gamble for the duo's Ruby anniversary with the team. A fan fest was held near the arena with a petting zoo full of goats. Get it? Get it? Because he's the goat. So, but they brought the goat. Anyway,
Were they baby goats?
I don't know.
They're cuter.
You would.
You don't like baby goats?
I like baby
Wow,
goats. They're called
okay.
kids. I'm a big fan.
All right. I thought
It's
you were
just
going to
a-
come at baby goats
No, I
today.
thought you were referencing the fact that we all call Patrick Mahomes the baby goat.
No, you're reading too much into it. I was just literally talking about baby
I thought it was a way
goats.
to get some Mahomes injection in here, which I respect. And I'm sorry for disrespecting Patrick Mahomes by saying that. That's on me. Gino Auriemma, now the winningest coach in college basketball history, past Tara Vanderveer's 1,216. The next three in the line, Mike Krzyzewski with 1,202, Pat Summitt with 1,098, and Vivian Stringer with 1,055. The only other name that is still active right now that could climb into that discussion is Jim Boeheim, but I don't think that's going to happen. Let's get to item number 2. That was an aggressive gurgle.
The boss was coming. He's trying to get you water and get out.
Chris Sale and Tarek Skubal have been named your Cy Young Award winners in Major League Baseball. The Atlanta Braves lefty coming back off of Tommy John surgery. Not only did he win the Cy Young, he won the Cy Young, as has been done 25 times in the history of Major League Baseball across both leagues. Was also your Triple Crown winner this year. He had an 18-3 record, a 2.38 ERA, and 225 strikeouts across the league. Led the NL in wins, ERA, and strikeouts. Got the Triple Crown. He and Skubal were the first pitchers to win the Triple Crown in a full season since Clayton Kershaw and Justin Verlander did it back in 2011. Shane Bieber did it in Shane Bieber, pardon me. That'd be dope if Shane Bieber did it. What a career that guy's having. Shane Bieber did it in the pandemic-shortened 2020 season. There have been 25 pitching Triple Crowns, and a Cy Young Award followed each and every one of them, to the shock of exactly no one. Sale's resurgence was a blast from last decade when he was one of the top starting pitchers in the sport. But starting in 2019, he had a series of injuries that included Tommy John surgery back in March of 2020. From 20 to 2023, Chris Sale made only 31 starts. 20 of those came with the Boston Red Sox last season. The Braves took a shot on Chris Sale, acquired him in an offseason trade, and I would say, yeah, it paid off. If Max Fried ends up with the LA Dodgers, the performance of Chris Sale this year has got to make the Braves feel a little bit better about their chances coming up next year. Pretty good year. It is not Chris Sale's first time being a Cy Young candidate. From 2012 to 2018, he finished with Cy Young votes all 7 seasons, finishing 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th twice, and 6th twice. He had been tied with Mike Messina and Nolan Ryan for the most top 5 finishes without winning. They all did it 6 times. He finally did get the trophy this year with the Atlanta Braves. Sale's ERA, the lowest for a Braves left-hander in the expansion era dating back to 1961. It is the 8th Cy Young Award for the Braves organization, the first since Tom Glavine won his 2nd back in 1998, which was a very, very long time ago. Congrats to Chris Sale for winning the Cy Young Award for Atlanta in the National League. Tarek Skubal from the Detroit Tigers won it over in the American League. Let's go to item number 3. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has announced their 25 modern era player semi-finalists for the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2025. These are the names that could potentially find their way in. Lonzo, I would like to do this. As I read these names, stop me for guaranteed entry. All right. For any player you think guarantee first ballot. All right.
Wow.
I know. I did this earlier today. There were a couple of them. Not as many as I thought there might be, though it is a list of names. And it's interesting. I think it's going to be for both of us, but it's interesting for me because now we are starting to see players go in that I watched as an adult.
You are so old.
I know. It feels like up until this year, it's always been guys that like, oh, I watched that guy when I was a kid. Now I'm like, oh, I was a grown-ass man when I watched that grown-ass man.
Well, I'm over that now. It's been
a while for you.
Yeah, it has.
I'm just circling into that.
Yeah.
All right, here's the list. Stop me when there's a guaranteed entry, Lonzo. Eric Allen, Jared Allen. I know.
Jared Allen was so good.
I love that dude.
He was so good.
But is it Hall of Fame caliber? We're going to talk about these a little bit more in depth.
You're saying guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
First ballot guarantee.
I think he's definitely Hall of Fame caliber, but I don't know if it's first ballot.
Okay. Willie Anderson, Anquan Bolden, Jari Evans. I'm going to say yes. A lot of you don't. It's an offensive lineman. Tough to say that that's a first ballot, but I'm going to say yes. Antonio Gates.
First ballot.
James Harrison.
First ballot.
I agree with both. Rodney Harrison.
First ballot.
Torrey Holt. I know that one's another one that I'm like, I think so.
He benefited from the team he was on.
Yes, he did.
So,
but also he kind of made the team he was on. He and Isaac Bruce in that game was a wagon.
He did. But we've seen in the past, like with Pittsburgh's great receiving core, there were a couple guys that took forever to back in the Bradshaw days. Took a couple guys that took forever to get in the hall.
Luke Kuechly. I'm gonna tell you the truth, and you're gonna hate this. I don't think he's going in at all. I don't think he's getting in.
I think he does get in eventually.
It'll be the players and coaches ballot later.
You think so?
Yeah. I don't think the media puts him in. I don't. Eli Manning.
Shouldn't, but will.
Why not? 2 Super Bowls. Ended the Patriots' bit of history. You should be happy about that. Your team's got it. Well, not anymore. They don't, but had a chance to do what the Patriots couldn't.
Yeah.
I forgot you lost last weekend. My bad. Robert Mathis. Steve Smith Sr. I think he's in, but I don't think he's first ballot.
Yeah, I don't think he is either.
Terrell Suggs, Fast Freddie Taylor, Earl Thomas, Adam Vinatieri.
He's in.
First ballot?
Yeah. I mean, it's not very often that a kicker is mentioned.
I feel like if you know a kicker's name.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would agree. Hines Ward. I know, I'm 50-50 on that one too. Ricky Waters. I think that's first ballot. I do. I think Ricky Waters is first ballot.
See. I'm not sold.
Reggie Wayne, Richmond Webb, Vince Wilfork. I think he's first ballot.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Steve Wisniewski, Darren Woodson, Marshall Yanda. I think we've hit them. I think there's probably 3 on this list that are guaranteed first ballots.
And then they'll pick a coach probably. There's the fact that there's not one on there. They'll go whatever that committee is that picks guys that have been on there for a while.
The full selection committee will reduce that list of 25 down to 15. Those 15 will be voted on the annual meeting before the Super Bowl that will produce the new class. Players must be approved by 80% of voters to get in, with between 3 and 5 players getting in as modern era candidates. There will also be votes for 3 seniors candidates, 1 contributor, and 1 coach, with between 1 and 3 people from that group getting into the Hall of Fame. Leading the group of candidates in their first year of eligibility, according to an initial poll, Eli Manning, former Defensive Players of the Year Luke Kuechly, and Terrell Suggs. So maybe I'm wrong about Kuechly. Maybe he does have a little more respect than I thought he did.
I was going to ask you the question, who you thought would get in first, Kuechly or Steve Smith?
Oof. I mean, I don't know.
Steve Smith was a great receiver, but Kuechly stood out. When he was out there, that he was the best linebacker in football. There was no question.
I've said
there's
this
some
before.
Really good guys out there, and he was it.
I think I am amongst folks here in the upstate anyway. I think I'm uniquely qualified to talk about Carolina because I will viewed this team through the lens of a rival, right? Like I'm not a guy who was neutral on Carolina and then came here. In fact, when I was auditioning for the job, when I was talking with the boss about it, one of the things I put on the table when he was asking me is like, hey, how much do you know about Clemson? How much do you know about South Carolina? How much do you know about the Carolina Panthers? And I said, I know about Clemson and South Carolina because I covered Florida and Florida State, and that's a couple of divisional rivals at the time, divisional rivals for those teams. I said, and I know about the Carolina Panthers. I'm a Saints fan. I watch your team almost as much as I watch mine because we play them twice a year. It's a divisional rival, whatever. I've said for years, Steve Smith Sr., I hated his I respect the hell out of him now. By the way, I should say friend of the show, Steve Smith Sr. All right. Respected him as a player, but hated him because of the bleep talking, because he was the best at it, maybe ever. Luke Kuechly, I was genuinely afraid of because Luke Kuechly was a guy that I'm like, he's going to kill somebody. And not only was he just you want to talk about outdoor practice guy, hard-nosed outdoor practice linebacker. That was Luke Kuechly. Alonzo is one of the smartest damn football players I've ever seen. This guy knew what you were going to run before you ran it. He diagnosed everything. Like, he was incredible. If it's me, Kuechly goes in before Steve Smith Sr.
Oh, I completely agree. I mean, I want him to be first ballot. Not only was he the best linebacker in football, he was probably my favorite player for a long time when he was out there.
You got to be an absolute dog for me to like you when you're playing for my rival, right? Warwick Dunn was one of those cats running back when he was there. Jamal Lewis, same thing for Atlanta. Hate the Dirty Birds. Loved watching those guys play. Luke Kuechly was a guy that even if the Saints weren't playing Carolina, I'd watch Panther football just to watch Luke Kuechly because that guy was an absolute dog on defense. I think Kuechly goes in before Steve Smith Sr. All right, we'll talk some more about some of the Hall of Fame class coming up later on in the radio broadcast. We got a lot to get to. Stick around. The Rob Brown Show's on the radio. It's the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, quick live, and we're coming right back. Y'all stay right there, please, and thank you. NFL teams truly attempt to tank. And I said yesterday on the show, I don't think that NFL players attempt to tank. And on top of that, I think, and we have seen this because I over the past handful of years, and we played you some sound from Ja'Marr Chase yesterday, who was very frustrated, and understandably so, with the Cincinnati Bengals, because that offense can go out and generate 500 yards and 5 touchdowns in a game, and they keep losing anyway. And Ja'Marr Chase was in front of his locker after another loss for the Bengals, where they put up, would Joey B have like 400 yards of offense and 4 touchdown passes, and they still lost for like the second time in a row. Joe Burrow is going to cross the 5,000 yards mark with probably a game or 2 left to go, and they might still have a losing record. So they were talking to Ja'Marr Chase in front of his locker, and they're like, hey, man, like, can you develop consistency, whatever? And he was just like, that's not my job. Why don't you go ask Zach, right? Call in the coach by the first name. Why don't you go ask Zach? That ain't my job. That's his job, right? I think players are more willing than ever before to criticize coaches. And it's up to you to decide if that's a good thing, a bad thing, or not, right? I think there are some coaches that can be successful with the player-coach mentality. Dan Campbell's doing it in Detroit right now. I think there are other coaches that can be more successful with the authoritative style coaching. Although, is there an example of that right now? I don't think there is, though. Is there like a Tom Coughlin style coach today that is successful? I think about the coaches that have been successful the last few years, and I'm thinking about guys like McVay, McDaniel, Reed, Campbell, like all these coaches that are successful and routinely at the top of the list right now. Don't they kind of all seem like player coaches nowadays?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they kind of do. And I'm interested in that. I'm interested in that, and I do have a theory about it. And I want to come to that here in just a minute. But we were talking about the concept of tanking. And I said yesterday on the show, I do not think that players tank. I don't think players would accept tanking. And if for no other reason, then tanking as a player makes your film look bad. And if your film looks bad, you're going to have a really difficult job getting anybody to give you more money down the line. So I don't think that players are willing to tank. What I do think is that franchises are. And I think franchises are willing to some degree to kind of massage things behind the scenes to make it more difficult for their team to succeed, because they know that tanking leads to better draft picks. And as I've said on the show 1,000 times, I think draft picks are a bad team's best friend, right? You have to build through the draft. I don't think it's like a philosophy thing anymore. So I got a couple of sound bites that I want to play for you real quick. I'm going to start with Trey Wingo, and then we're going to go to Mark Schlereth. Big stink. And here's why. Because we talked about this yesterday, and I did not directly talk about the team that both of these guys are about to talk about, but they both talked about it. 2 separate clips I stumbled upon last night. Let me start with Trey Wingo.
Players can't tank in the NFL because if a player doesn't play well, they either won't have their contract renewed, or someone will look at that tape and another team say, I don't want that guy. Organizations can tank. Welcome to the New York Football Giants. They don't want to pay Daniel Jones his salary, so they're keeping as far away from the bench as possible. He's number 3 on the quarterback position now. But that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is they're going with their 3rd stringer, Tommy DeVito, over Drew Lock. Keep in mind, they're paying Drew Lock $5 million a year this season to not play, because if he plays, they have a better chance of winning, and that would increase their chances of getting a higher draft pick. So let's go with Tommy DeVito, who are paying a lot less, and it's probably not going to play as well, so we can get a better draft pick and replace Daniel Jones. And oh, by the way, this is all the Giants' fault because they chose to pay Saquon Barkley or not pay Saquon Barkley, and he's kicking ass in Philadelphia, and they doubled down on Daniel Jones, and now he's on the bench. This is how organizations tank in the NFL.
So almost exactly what I said yesterday. Now, I didn't go into depth with the Giants, but that's who I was talking about. And then Wingo goes on and basically has the same take on social media yesterday. And I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's it. I don't think players tank. I do think teams do. He wasn't the only one with that take. Mark Schlereth not only got heated, but Lonzo, towards the end of this, Schlereth breaks out a Rob Brown classic.
This is why the Giants suck. Drew Lock has been your backup quarterback for the entirety of the season, right? He was the guy, if Daniel Jones was going to get hurt, he was the guy that was going in. He was good enough to do that for you for the entirety of this season. But as soon as you decide to bench Daniel Jones, you decide to go with the sideshow, Tommy Cutlets. Because why? Because your fan base will get excited?
Yes.
Like, to me, this is the biggest issue. You're a bad franchise. You need to attract free agents to come to your franchise. If I'm a free agent player, and all things being equal from a money standpoint, I look at this clown show versus some other team, I'm not going to the Giants. That's a clown show. That guy worked all year to be the backup, to get his opportunity. He signed there to have an opportunity because he knew Daniel Jones was questionable. And at the 11th hour, you decide, no, we're going to go with, yeah, right?
Breaking out the
I just want to point out, because I am an award-winning producer, my version.
Oh, for sure.
Our version.
For sure.
Better, better music.
Oh, yeah.
Better timing, and
oh, yeah.
And honking sound effects too. I mean, come on.
Without a doubt. That is why we are three-time South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year. For sure. And I believe we've actually used that in one of our, did we use that in one of our finalist submissions once?
I believe we did.
I think we did. Anyway.
Not only did we do it, we did it years ago.
It was like either the first or the second one, if I recall correctly. Anyway, the point here is, because you paid Drew Lock $5 million. And while Tommy DeVito, is interesting, sure, because he came in, he had his run, we all got on board. I do think a part of that what was Sean Stiletto. I think a part of that was the sideshow aspect of it. But I think the point that is being made here is a sideshow will get you a brief bit of attention. Why are the Kansas City Chiefs on our damn television all the time? Because they keep winning. You want the attention? Go win. You want to sell tickets? Go win. And when you make the decision,
Dallas Cowboys on our screen,
because they get eyeballs. And even if, here's the thing, even if the eyeballs
I was thinking
come,
a sideshow, but
even if the eyeballs come because it's people wanting to dunk and make sure you know that we know that you are miserable, Dallas Cowboy fans, it's still an attraction. Dallas fans love to do that. We might be bad, but you're still talking about us. It's like, yeah, but like, what's that do for you, right? What's that do for you? It makes you look silly. When I got social media influencers walking around Jerry World and they are showing minutes after the Cowboys get it handed to them again, that Jerry's merch store is full of customers willingly separating from their hard-earned American dollars, we're laughing at you, right? The thing with Jerry is, with the Giants is, I might go tune in to the Giants this way. In fact, I'll even tell you, I will, because I want to see Tommy DeVito. Huh?
I hope Tommy DeVito wins.
So do I. But let's be real. That's from a sideshow angle, right? The Giants aren't a compelling football team, even if Tommy DeVito comes in and wins, because do you think Tommy DeVito is winning enough to make the Giants a threat to anybody? Probably not. They might win one or two as a little boost, but they're not. Even with Tommy DeVito, who I love, he's fun, he's entertaining. Even with Tommy Cutlets, they're not like suddenly a team that's worthy of being respected, right? So the point here is, Schlereth has a point in that if you're a free agent now, you know, okay, if things go sideways for the Giants, they're willing to bench guys they're paying $5 million for. Why the hell am I going to go there? Drew Lock can't get a better job next year because he's not playing this year to put anything on tape to prove it. Schlereth's got a point. He's exactly right. The point here is you can be anti-tank as you want. You can say the players will never tank. I agree with that. But the franchises will. And I think Wingo and Schlereth both just made the argument that I was making yesterday. All right. Got some more football just around the corner. The Rob Brown Show carries on. It's the Fan Upstate. Joey V, when I was a young broadcaster many years ago, and I don't remember where in my career it was. I know it was very early, like a year or two in. I was producing for a show that had a guy by the name of Max Howell on it, Coach Max Howell. He was an old college football coach. He had coached like a year or two in the league. Wasn't super well known nationally, but he was pretty big across the Southeast, Max Howell. And I produced an afternoon show for him. And he got Schlereth on the show one time. And this was towards the beginning of Stink's career as a broadcaster as well. So Schlereth came on the air, and I don't even remember what the argument was about. But he had a take, and I do think respectfully, because I've come around from this story. But Schlereth came on the air and he issued a hot take. And I again, very early in his broadcasting career, he was trying to get noticed. He was trying to get attention. He was trying to get people to pay attention to him. But he had a hot take. And I was a producer, but I had autonomy to talk on the air. So we gave a hot take, and I thought it was a hot take. And while he was talking, I went and I found some number that disagreed with his hot take. And I came on the air, and I really wasn't. I was very new to the game. But I wasn't trying to like cause a disruption. It was more like in my young naivete, I thought that he would want to know this number that was contrary to his hot take, right? So I jumped on the air and I was like, hey, Stink, respectively, you said this, but here's this number about that team that says otherwise. Here's this number that says otherwise, whatever. And this dude like railed on me on the air, like came after me. And so this was gosh, really like the really early days of Twitter. And Schlereth, I tweeted something out him after the show. So maybe it was a little bit deeper than like the first couple of years, but it was in the early Twitter days, like right when it was just catching on. I tweeted something at him and he gave me the riot act on Twitter and then blocked me on Twitter. Schlereth is one of like 3 professional athletes that I am blocked from on Twitter. Actually, let me see. I wonder if I still am. I don't think I've checked it in years. No, I'm not blocked by Schlereth anymore. I've gotten off the Stink bandwagon. Banned BANNED wagon this time.
I think he was recently on with Cole and Diesel.
Stink was?
I believe so.
It's awesome.
I think there was a promo I thought I heard.
I've always liked Stink. I just like he did so like I said, it was very early in his career, so I think he was on the Hot Take Express trying to get noticed. But yeah, I absolutely caught a shut up nerd from Big Stink early. Yeah, and I think that was kind of the early version of that. Stink strikes me as one of these guys that like hates analytics people, right? Like, how dare you utilize math when I'm a football guy? Like, you don't know what. And if I recall, he absolutely hit me with a, have you ever played pro ball? Because I have. Like, I know better because I was out there. And it's like, there are aspects of the game that I agree with that, right? There are elements of the game that I agree with that. I can't tell you what an NFL locker room is like in terms of interaction between players, but I don't need to have played the game to understand that blitzes on third down are, 15% more successful against quarterback X. We were talking about Schlereth during the break. I won't go deep down the rabbit hole, but I have a stink story. When I was in my early days of broadcasting, I did a show down in Florida for a guy named Max Howell. He was a former college and very brief in the NFL coach. And I was his producer. And because Max Howell was a dude that knew football but could not carry a show by himself, I was kind of like, I was a producer the way that the guys on the McAfee show were the producer. Like, it's clearly Pat and it's clearly Pat's show, but he brings the guys in. If you've ever noticed when McAfee does interviews, those guys don't just talk. He says, hey, Connor's got a question for you, coach, right? Like, he opens the floor for them and then he takes it back. That was kind of my role on that show. So we had Schlereth on early in Schlereth's broadcasting career, like the first year after he retired from the NFL. And I don't remember specifically what the conversation was about, but Schlereth had a hot NFL take. And again, I get it. He was right in the window of beginning his broadcasting career. And this was, I think, right around the time that companies were starting to learn that hot takes sell and good takes don't. And I still believe that. But Schlereth had a hot NFL take. I don't remember specifically what it was, but I had a number that disagreed with him. And I called him. I don't want to say I called him out, like, respectfully. I was like, hey, man, here's the number. I disagree with your take, and here's the number that backs me up. And basically, Schlereth, like, went off on me. It was like, no. And he gave me did you ever play NFL football? Did you ever play the game? Because I did. And that, I think, is part of the reason, because I felt as a new broadcaster, like I was learning the ropes, whatever. And I kind of felt like, why would you, like, you got to come into my house and disrespect me like that? Just because I never played football doesn't mean I don't understand the game. I don't need to have played in a 3-4 cover one defense to recognize what it is and how it works and why it works and what it works best against and what it works worst against. This is why I've always been like, there's a lot of former players that are really good broadcasters, but I don't think that every show needs to be a former player, right? I think that's what the podcast world is for. But anyway, Schlereth, like that take, agree with that take. There's another take that I found yesterday that I think is kind of interesting. The question has been asked 1,000 times. Can college coaches be successful in the NFL? And my answer is no. Not that none of them can, because we saw Pete Carroll do it. But
see, when you say that, though, I mean, aren't the majority of NFL coaches former college coaches?
I think what they mean is, can, like, established successful college coaches make the transition? Nick Saban? Nope. Steve Spurrier? Nope. Chip Kelly? Nope. Right? These guys can't do it. And there is a reason. There is a reason that elite college head coaches cannot translate to the NFL. And I've made this point 1,000 times, but Shady McCoy was doing an interview earlier this week on a podcast, and he told the story. Now, you may disagree. You may think that Shady McCoy is, being sensitive or whatever. But the reality is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he's being sensitive, if he's right or wrong or not. What matters is, Shady McCoy was one of the most important players on Chip Kelly's team when Chip Kelly was trying to make it with the Eagles and failed. And Shady McCoy kind of gave us some insight as to why.
I don't really like him. That's obvious. He didn't understand we are grown men playing in the league. Coach, we just won a big game, beat the Cowboys, number one in our division. We partying tonight. Why are you about to give me a test at 7 o'clock the next day? We in the NFL. Yeah, I got a Rolls Royce, bro, and I'm going to drive it to the game. You guys drive your cars to the stadium the day before the game, and then all going to take a bus from the hotel to the game. He will monitor your sleep patterns. Hey, McCoy, I need to talk to you in my office. I get up there. What's up, coach? You want to talk to me about that game I had? Nah, I want to talk to you because he crossed his legs and all this. I seen you had 3 hours of sleep last night. How you know that? Well, we checked it. I said, man, well, I ain't doing it no more. since you're monitoring how much I sleep, I don't feel comfortable. So I'm never doing it again. That's another issue we had.
Huh.
Think about that though.
That's crazy. That's
Right?
crazy. And going back for every single guy on the team, this, that.
I mean, that's just a whole nother, like, I should write a book.
So Shady McCoy says he was out on Chip Kelly when he got called into Chip Kelly's office. And Chip said, I want to talk about your sleeping patterns. You only got 3 hours of sleep last night. I want to talk about that. And I found that interesting because you remember we talked earlier in the show, or was it yesterday? I don't remember. Time's the flat circle and it all blends together. We talked about, actually it was yesterday. It was when we were talking about conference championships. Would you rather play for a conference championship and risk not making the playoffs, or not play for a conference championship but know that you've punched your ticket? And I said, there are times, and it's hard to do this sometimes, but there are times that you have to recognize that what you love and what you care about and what you are passionate about is not the logical, rational thing to pursue, right? The logical, rational thing for me to pursue at 10 o'clock at night is to be dialed into every NBA game, every NFL game. It's to be me sitting at the house and doing show prep and learning and reading and studying. Not to be sitting in my backyard next to a fire pit playing guitar and drinking bourbon. But I love to sit outside next to the fire pit playing guitar and drinking
I
bourbon.
think we know that. You've mentioned that a lot lately.
Well,
I mean,
because
this
of the same story from yesterday.
Okay.
So the point that I'm making here is sitting outside and drinking bourbon and playing guitar is winning the conference championship. Being inside reading Vince Lombardi books while watching NBA games and learning how to break down games is making it to the playoffs. The logical thing is go to the playoffs. But the thing I'm passionate about is winning the conference, a.k.a. fireside guitar and bourbon, right? It makes sense that if I could get my players on board with having doctors that are monitoring their sleep schedule and studying how their bodies are most efficiently optimized to be the greatest NFL player they can be, that make a lot of sense, right? Logically speaking, if we all did the things health-wise that logically and rationally we're supposed to do, we'd all be the best version of ourselves. But we also love pizza.
is weird because you're not taking the player side in this.
I am not.
Yeah, this is.
No, wait, no. I am. Hold on. Let me get there.
Oh,
I
okay.
am.
All right. So far, it doesn't seem
I
that
am.
you are.
Because here's the thing. I went to a doctor's appointment not too long ago. Doctor was like, hey, man, listen, like you're in way better shape than you were a year ago for sure. But you're not in the best shape, right? I'm still overweight. I'm in way closer to
Yeah, governmental
was.
governmental BMI regulations are just stupid.
well, they're not regulations.
Well-
There's no law against being fat. It's advice, guidelines, suggestions.
There would be if they could make that work, probably.
As Captain Barbosa said, guidelines. Okay? That's pretty good Barbosa, if I can be honest. Guidelines. All right, anyway, the
You
point
are
here is
all about you today.
I love some Barbosa. So, I mean, I love me some me, said me and Terrell Owens. The point here is, from a coaching perspective, it absolutely makes sense that I want to know my players are getting the right amount of sleep, they're getting the right nutrition, they're on the right schedule,
It's
are
also
optimized to be the
it's
best,
creepy.
most Terminator version of themselves that they can be. Because if I can get the best Shady McCoy I can get, I got a better chance at winning. On the flip side, they're still people. They're still players. They're still people. And yeah, if he owns a Rolls, he doesn't want to get on a bus to leave the stadium to go to the hotel, to get on a bus to come back to the stadium for a game. I'm an adult. I'll show up to work in my own damn car. Okay.
See, I get all that. The sleep pattern thing bothers me a little bit because unless they volunteered to be monitored.
Well, apparently they did.
Okay, so if you volunteered to be monitored, then that's on you. Then if you didn't read the fine lines,
At least
and
that's
realize,
that's what Shady made it sound like, right? It made it sound like he knew this was happening and it went too far.
Yeah, because
But-
and he said he decided to stop doing
Right.
it, so that would imply that he
decided.
agreed.
But the point of it is, Chip Kelly came in and tried to run this NFL team as a college team, right? College teams all meet and get on a bus together to go to the hotel and bus back. NFL teams don't do that. College players are the ones that have every single element and aspect of what goes in their body, comes out of their body, how, when, how, who, blah, blah, blah. That's all college. That's not the NFL. In the NFL, you got to let these grown-ass men that are multimillionaires just be the guy, right? Logically and rationally, it would have made perfect sense for NFL players to listen to Chip Kelly and listen to Nick Saban and listen to Steve Spurrier and these coaches who I genuinely believe all showed up in the locker room and tried to run their NFL team like they ran their college teams. But realistically speaking, those guys aren't going to react to that. And so the question is, how do you balance getting the best out of those players with allowing the players to feel like they are still grown-ass men playing a game for a living?
Can you explain Jim Harbaugh then?
Yeah, I can. Jim
There's
Harbaugh.
a lot of video of him hugging and palling around, doing a bunch of stuff, the stuff that he did in college, doing it to his
Not
NFL
the same
players.
thing. Not the same. I think there is a difference between acting like a goober. And by the way, I already know for a fact that when Hayden S. Mario comes in here, he's going to dunk on me because everything I thought about Jim Harbaugh was wrong. I thought it was going to take time. And all of a sudden, would you look at this? The damn Chargers are a Super Bowl threat in year one, right? I don't think Jim Harbaugh, there is a difference between coming in and palling around and high-fiving. These guys get in the locker room after a win. There's video of it going around on social right now. And the Chargers sing for "He's a Jolly Good Fellow" to whoever wins the game ball. That's the most 1910s BS I've ever seen. If I was at a company party and somebody won like Employee of the Year, the boss was like, "We're going to sing "He's a Jolly Good Fellow." I'm like, "No, are we, pal?" See, flick a quarter in the air. I'd be like, no, let's put on some Drake or whatever and get down.
I don't know. I think I'd feel pretty good if they sang.
Well, that's because that song's from your day, right?
No, it's not. I just the part which nobody can deny. That's the only part I care about.
Here's the reality. You think the Chargers are acting that way around Jim Harbaugh if they're 3-7? No, of course not. You can be buddy, pal, high five, high, whatever.
I don't think that he just slowly evolved into that. He came in with that.
For sure. But again, I'll tell you what I don't think Jim Harbaugh's doing. And remember, Jim Harbaugh's not a successful college coach who came to the NFL. He's a successful NFL coach who went to go be successful in college and then came back, right? I think Jim Harbaugh is the type of dude that tells the players, I'm not going to monitor your sleep. Be an adult. Be responsible, right? I'm not going to monitor your time watching a video on iPad. Just be an adult with a job and responsible. And as long as you show up into your job, I trust you like every other adult in the world. I don't get a text from my boss at 11 p.m. going, "Are you in bed yet?" because you have to be up for your show in 3 hours. I don't get that. He says, "Do you show up? Do your job?" And if the answer is yes, whatever, I'm going to leave you the hell alone. Guys like Chip Kelly, guys like Nick Saban, they get so ingrained in college of being in control of every single minute, day to day of their players' lives that it doesn't work when they get to the NFL because they don't know how to let go of that control.
I'd be willing to bet that Chip Kelly isn't doing that now as the offensive coordinator of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
I don't know
that he's not monitoring.
I don't know that I'd be so sure about that.
I
Now,
don't think he
here
is.
is my question.
But he's not the head coach, so he probably doesn't have that power.
True. He may be assigned to do it, but forget all that. Here's my question. Will we ever see another Nick Saban who had that, like, I'm in control of every minute and every aspect of your day? Will we see that type of coach in the NIL and transfer portal era?
I'll say we're already seeing it. Coach Prime.
See,
he has control over everything and does everything.
I don't disagree, but I also watched a video yesterday where Prime went out, and I'm going to give him credit for this. Prime went out to a bank in Boulder, and he got a bank to come in and partner up NIL style and open a savings account for every player on his team who has a kid for the kid. And put put $2,121 in it. To open a savings account with interest and all that, like a growth account for their college career. That's the kind of stuff Deion's doing for his kids. I'm willing to have, if our boss got a little bit more controlling over my time and schedule, I would be willing to put up with it because I really like working for the guy. My old boss, if he came in and said, "I'm going to take more time and control over your day-to-day schedule outside of work," I'd be like, "Yo, bleep this. I'm out because I hate working for you. I just do it because I want to stay in the biz," right? All right, we'll talk more about this later. When we come back, Lulu Kesson of the Greenville News joins us. We'll talk about the South Carolina Gamecocks' last win over Mizzou, what she expects to see out of a tune-up game this weekend. We may even look ahead to Clemson. We'll find out. That's after Lonzo blows your mind with his sports flash.
Yeah, we all know when Rob's sleep patterns are off, don't we?
They don't exist.
The Carolina Hurricanes earned their 14th win in 18 games with a 4-1 win over the Flyers last night. Jordan Stahl and Jack Roslovic each scored within a minute of each other in the third period to take a 2-1 tie to a 4-1 lead. while Jalen Chatfield and Sebastian Aho each netted goals earlier in the night. The Canes' third consecutive win moves them to the top of the Metropolitan Division. South Carolina's women's basketball team dominated at Clemson last night, securing a 77-45 win. Only two players, Tiana Paopao with 13 and Ashlyn Watkins with 10 off the bench, reached double digits, but the Gamecocks saw 11 different players record at least one bucket. USC rebounded Clemson 54-30. Tune in this Saturday at 1:30 as Furman Paladins take on the Mercer Bears. It's Furman versus Mercer right here on your home for Paladins football. The Fan, Upstate. Be back because I got to make a phone call and all that stuff that Rob normally says. So, yeah, we'll be right back. How dare they call him Nick to his face?
Yeah. Again, I think as a head coach, and this is the philosophy I had. There is nothing wrong with your players liking you, provided they respect you. I didn't have an issue with the players when I coached, which was, again, middle school and like freshman and high school. I really didn't care if the players called me by my first name, provided me they were doing what they needed to be doing. And one of the things that I did for my high school team when I coached our freshman team one year was I didn't care if they called me by the first name, but the minute that you started not doing the stuff I was asking, This becomes a formal program. I am now Coach Brown. If you are late to practice, you are now running laps or you are off the team. If you boys are doing what you say, I'm Rob. I'm your buddy. I don't care. And I think NFL coaches have adopted that, which is why, like I said earlier, if I asked you who the most strict coach in the NFL is right now, like a Tom Coughlin style coach, I don't think there is one, is there? At least not one that's successful. I think Brian Daboll wants to be that, but like, does anybody listen to that guy? Here we go. Hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show on a Thursday is underway. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo with you. And as it is Thursday, and as it is 8 o'clock in the morning, as we do every Thursday, when it is 8 o'clock in the morning, we take a little road trip right on down to Columbia, South Carolina, and we welcome in a young, intrepid reporter, a young lady that does a phenomenal job covering the Gamecocks of South Carolina. Joining the show, the lovely Lulu Kesson here on the Rob Brown Show. Lulu, what's up? How we doing?
Good morning. Hi. Those compliments were very kind. How are you guys?
And very well deserved. We are well. Thank you very much.
Hey, what's intrepid mean? I mean, I know I'm old and
ambitious,
I know I should know that. But
inspired.
yeah, okay. You hear that mentioned like on comic book movies and stuff, you know, in the intrepid. Okay. All right. So you're accurate.
It's a compliment.
It's definitely
100%,
a compliment.
100%, because Lulu's the best. Joins us every Thursday at 8 o'clock. Let's start with this one, Lulu Kesson, and we'll just mention it on the way by. But the Lady Gamecocks had themselves a night last night on a little road trip. Would you like to tell the people?
Yeah, I was in Clemson last night. Beautiful campus. Hadn't been. I don't know if that's bad to say as I cover South Carolina.
Well, it's just the two of us talking, Lulu. Nobody else.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, South Carolina. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I can hear that through my phone. That's a little different than the club horn I'm used to hearing. But anyways, there we go. Back to my roots. South Carolina set a new program record, 43 straight wins. It was very ugly. It was not a perfect game, particularly really bad first half for South Carolina. Shooting-wise, first quarter, I think they were like 5 of 21 from the field, but they pulled it together, went on a 17-0 run towards the end of the first half, and the rest is quite literally history.
I do want to ask real quick one question, and then we'll pop back over to the world of football and break down that 34-30 win over Mizzou last weekend. But this team, I went and looked at the box score. I didn't get a chance to watch this game last night. I'm going to watch it later on today, but I went and looked at the box score. There were only 2 Gamecocks that reached double digits in the scoring category, but there were 11 of them that found a way to put points up on the board. In fact, I think there was only 1 player on the active roster last night that did not record a point for the Gamecocks. As far as this team goes, like I know you've got Pow and you've got some other player, Chloe Kitts. You've got some ballers on this team, but it feels like to me, and I could be wrong, correct me if I am, feels like the first year that you don't have an Aaliyah Boston, like that front line, you know this player's going 2 or 3 in the WNBA draft superstar. Is Don Staley's team going to be a little bit more, balanced, a little bit more spread out in terms of production this year? Or do you think there is a player that I'm just not recognizing is going to step up and be that baller for the Lady Gamecocks this year?
Honestly, I think they're going to be more balanced. Even when, like, Pow had 23 points against NC State, Mylasia Full-Wiley had 18. Like, Chloe Kitts has had 2 19-point games. Even when you have that dominant scorer, the team and the team-wide offensive production is still there, and kind of is more the message I guess I'm taking from these wins so far. And particularly because Camila Cardoso last year was 6'7" and 64% on layups. Like, South Carolina got away with a lot of bad shots last year. So I think a whole new ball game this year is just learning better, shot IQ, just better shot selection. And that's sort of like a slow burn process. And I think once everyone gets more comfortable in the new offensive system, everyone's numbers are naturally going to go up because there's a lot of scorers on that team.
I like that. I'm interested in the team this year because I do think this is going to be a year where, not that it hasn't years gone by, but the coaching ability of Dawn Staley is going to shine because of that. I think this is a team that's going to get progressively more polished as the regular season goes on. We will be flipping to more basketball as football season comes to its conclusion with Lulu Kesson of the Greenville News, who joins us every Thursday at 8 a.m. Lulu, let's take a trip in the DeLorean 88 miles an hour back to last Saturday when the Gamecocks knocked off Missouri 34-30 is your final. Shane Beamer's team gets yet another win over yet another ranked team. Before we get into the X's and O's, the specifics, player breakdowns, etc., just your 30,000-foot view of this contest as a whole and the performance of the Gamecocks in it.
My take is that this is South Carolina. That was South Carolina's best game and most important game. I don't think South Carolina has proven that they can win a close conference game. You know, A&M, they obviously dominated, especially in the second half, but A&M didn't score. Like, they shut down. Vanderbilt never really had a chance. Oklahoma. There are so many of these important wins that South Carolina had that weren't necessarily 100% battle tested. And kind of the last thing to check off my list of South Carolina for this season and for their at least progression right now is, okay, can they win a game like the games they lost in LSU and Alabama? And they absolutely did on Saturday against Missouri. We are talking to Lulu Kesson of the Greenville News, breaking down last week's 34-30 win over the Missouri Tigers. And I agree with that, Lulu Kesson. You had 21 up in the first half, 21-6 your halftime score, but they allowed Mizzou to put 18 up on the board, including a go-ahead touchdown before that last drive, Tutty, from Lenoris, from Rocket, and the gang. It's on one hand, yes, I think it was a 3 quarters worth of dominating performance. Then about 80% of the fourth quarter, Mizzou was able to climb back into this thing. South Carolina did close it out, which is a lesson that I think needed to be learned. I think it's something that you go back and look at LSU, you go back and look at Alabama, and you can talk about Lenore Sellers being hurt against LSU. You can talk about being on the road in Tuscaloosa, yada. But this is a game that South Carolina finished. However, they had to finish because they let Mizzou climb back into it. I know Shane was elated after this game. I know he was providing us with a ton of sound clips we've played, but did he say anything, or did you take anything away from the fact that Missouri was able to make this a game in the fourth quarter? Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily say that a lot of the focus was on the fact that Missouri came back, because I think Shane did kind of expect that. I think he knew the type of team Missouri had and that they weren't going to go away kind of the same way other teams had. That being said, Shane and defensive coordinator Clayton White were like, we did not play a perfect game. I mean, missed tackle after missed tackle from some of their best defenders. Like, I'm probably the biggest Demetrius Knight fan, but he had some bad missed tackles towards the end of the third quarter. Debo Williams, people who were just disciplined all season long, I think we're just faced with a new level of physicality that Mizzou was bringing, or they just simply didn't have their best game, and it was kind of a flip-flop. Normally, to be kind of put it simply, South Carolina's defense carries and does really well and can disguise some ugly offense, but this game was kind of different. South Carolina's offense led the way for most of the game. I mean, Lenoir did have an interception and got sacked, but still, like, the defense was bad at times, and Shane did not shy away from that. At least when he was talking to us Tuesday, he was like, we have a lot to work on before Wofford. We did not play a perfect game, and they're definitely not taking this week as a week off just because it's a non-conference opponent. Like, there was a lot he didn't like about the game that I imagine he wants fixed ASAP. It's interesting in this role that we find ourselves in, Lulu Kesson, and Lonzo and I have butted heads about this many times in our tenure together. To me, you can have a game like that, and it's wonderful to elate. It's wonderful to celebrate. It's wonderful to enjoy another top 25 win, this one over a team that was 7-2 coming into the game. But to me, you got to come in here and you got to talk about the negatives. You got to talk about what went wrong, because those are the only things you can fix. The things you did well, you can't fix them. You got to fix what's not working. And I think there were some takeaways, specifically late in this game, that South Carolina can address. And I'm glad you hit on one of them, which was the missed tackling. My question is, do you think that was just an off day from the South Carolina defense? Because to me, I go back and I look at the first half, I didn't see as much of it. I almost kind of came around to the opinion that I think this team, which is young, which is a team that's kind of starting to find itself and feel itself, which I think is great.
I think they got caught up in the game, in the moment. I think they got caught up in the celebration. I think they got caught up in the confidence of the fans that were in the stadium. I think they kind of started in the second half to sniff their own flowers, so to speak, in that spot, and maybe got carried away a little bit. I think this serves very well of a lesson of, hey, let's party in the locker room, not on the field when they still got the football. Am I off base with that?
I can't say you're off base with that. The only reason why I'm 100% not having that same mentality, I think, is because, and don't get me wrong, the defense has had bad plays here and there. But, I mean, maybe I'm just superstitious. I just have felt like watching South Carolina's defense, I'm just like waiting for them to have a bad game because they've played so well, so consistently. I'm like, oh, like, this can't happen. It can't be skill. What? And now I'm like, oh, wait, like, yeah, they can have an off day. So the reason why I think I'm a little hesitant towards that thinking is because South Carolina has some of its oldest players on the team on defense, and based on like who Demetrius is and who Debo is and even who Kyle Kennard is, I can't imagine them being so caught up in the score. That being said, the game was so chaotic that I can see how environmental factors played in, maybe when the lead was going their way a little bit and then you accidentally let up on one or two plays and then you just kind of get into some bad habits that are a little bit problematic. But at the same time, I'm not saying your thinking is 100% wrong.
21 of 30, 353 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, which was entirely on him. It was just a missed throw. But LaNorris Sellers had a game that got him named National Player of the Week. This is the same cat, Lulu Kesson, that 5-6 weeks ago when you were on the show, I was saying, I'm not seeing the development. I'm not seeing the growth. I'm concerned about this cat. Here we are, him putting up 350 and 5 tutties against a physical, a good, not great, but good Missouri defense. And all of a sudden, LaNorris Sellers looks like he's going to be a standout quarterback, not just in the SEC, but nationally moving forward. Talk to me about his game this weekend.
Yeah, Debo said the guys are calling him La Him and La Hero now, and La Savior are his 3 nicknames. I mean, I think the biggest point of growth was hearing, I mean, Shane said this, not me, but Shane was like, over or just about a minute left, 3 timeouts, LaNorris Sellers, I like our chances. Whereas, man, oh man, I don't know if I would have been that confident 4 or 5 weeks ago, mainly because LaNorris just couldn't get out of his own way. Whereas now you're seeing, honestly, a kid kind of grow up fully. And that I asked Dowell Loggins this yesterday, and I was very kind of honored that he gave such a extensive answer. I kind of thought he was just kind of going to give me 1 or 2 sentences, but he really went on. I was basically like, all right, you can argue how mature LaNorris is. I'm not doubting that. However, he's a 19-year-old kid with social media, and every single person who was bowing at his feet crapped on him for the first 4 or 5 weeks. How do you talk about dealing with those emotions? And Dowell just like went in and talked about like awards are rat poison, and talking about that basically you can enjoy all the positive commentary you're getting if you show up that Saturday. And so Dowell's not letting him kind of soak in the glory of, I mean, geez, 353 yards and 5 touchdowns. I just can't stop thinking about that. But Dowell's clearly letting him not think about that, because he's like, it's on to the next. And honestly, I was texting with LaNorris's parents after the game, and they were like, we're so proud of him, but yeah, on to Wofford. Like, I think everybody is incredibly excited for LaNorris, and I think he's having just a phenomenal tail end of the year, knock on wood, but no one's quite ready to settle yet. And it seems like everyone in his camp is reminding him to kind of keep going, which is really exciting to see, considering how well he's playing week after week.
Yeah, I've acknowledged and said a couple of times, I owe LaNorris Sellers like an edible arrangements basket or something from the way that we were talking about him a number of weeks ago. And to see this guy picking up National Player of the Week honors is spectacular. But, you know, another theory that I've cooked up here, Lulu Kesson, is the fact that this feels rising tide lifts all boats to me, because it's not just that Lenoris has looked better, but the offensive line has looked better, which has allowed Rocket Sanders to look better. It's allowed him to run a little more freely and therefore a little more powerfully, as he did on the game-winning touchdown. When the offensive line and the run game start to work, it makes it a little easier for the quarterback to work. And I circle all this back around to another guy that, as far as I'm concerned, deserves all the flowers, and that's the young man you just mentioned, Dow Loggins, a guy that was also getting crapped on relentlessly at the beginning of the season. All of this sudden, this offense looks opened up. It doesn't look constrained. And I'm wondering if the results, the questioning about the almost predictable, boring play calling we were seeing earlier in the year, it almost felt to me like maybe Dow just realized the maturity level and capability of the players that he was working with early in the season. And now that they've grown up, the playbook's opened up. Where do you fall on the development of this offense, specifically from the standpoint of the offensive coordinator?
Yeah, and I think I mean, I don't know if this is an annoying answer, but I guess I don't blame Dowell, I guess, for having more vanilla offense in the beginning of the season, because quite frankly, it looked like he didn't have much to work with. And, you know, you can say, I guess, what you want about what he had on the field, but at the same time, like, it's clear that he's known all along this team will be good. He's been the biggest advocate for time and just slow progression. And I give him credit. Like, a lot of us joke about how Dowell talks in, you know, about the NFL all the time and brings that up. And it's like, yeah, but like, that does mean something in terms of player personnel and experience. Like, Dowell knows how to develop a player. That's clear. If you want to harp on his play calling in the NFL, that's a different story. I think where he's really succeeded as a leader of this offense from a play calling standpoint is that he understands time and place. Like, even when they kind of have these stall drives that you're like, what was there? Like, then it's not consistent anymore. It's inconsistent. He's clearly catering to the level that he has in terms of players right now. And I honestly just think maybe in the beginning of the season, he wasn't ready to throw a lot of complex offense on the field because he knew that South Carolina couldn't handle it.
Lulu Kesson, one more, and then we will let you get back to work because I know you're busy getting ready for a game against Wofford. Feels like a tune-up game. We'll get to that here in a minute, but Michael in Simpsonville texted the show and said, Rob, please ask her opinion on the third quarter outside of the first drive. That looked like a totally different squad. And I think we kind of talked a little bit about this defensively, Lulu Kesson, about the defense in the fourth quarter. But I think Mike in Simpsonville kind of has a point here that offensively, and this was something we talked about after the Oklahoma game, it almost felt like with a lead, playing comfortably, like you came off the accelerator a little bit. Was there anything that Mizzou, because the other thought is maybe Mizzou tinkered, maybe Mizzou figured something out there. Was there anything that jumped off the page to you as to why maybe that offense slowed up a little bit early in the second half?
I think coming out of halftime with a lead definitely played into it a little bit. I would say that I think Mizzou, all along, their kind of MO is just how physical they played. South Carolina's like, we're not going to let them be more physical than us. And so I think when physicality is a huge factor, it's very much like that kind of puts, you're like, okay, that's an on the field thing. And then it's kind of like, okay, what's the mental game they're playing right now? Are they just going to basically try to tackle us whenever they can and be the most physical team? Or are they having a more, I guess, scheme-based identity to themselves? And I think South Carolina was just a little bit slow to respond to every little thing to start the third quarter. And so bigger issues were becoming a little bit more clear, whether that was just missed tackles on defense or on offense, just kind of some like bad, kind of bland run game. I think South Carolina was just comfortable. So their response to things, whether that was a slight change or a major change Mizzou had, was kind of a little bit delayed.
Lulu Kesson, put you on the clock, 30-second answer. Ordinarily, we'd ask, South Carolina wins if blank. You got Wofford this weekend with respect to the Terriers. Assume South Carolina is going to walk away without the worst upset in the history of the franchise. So instead, I will ask you the question, 30 seconds, give me the thing you think South Carolina really dials in on this week to be ready for Clemson next week.
I think South Carolina knows Wofford is still going to be a team that's going to give it their all. It's their last game of the season. I think getting back defensively, getting back into a better, stronger defensive rhythm will be huge. I think avoiding missed tackles will be a huge thing they harp on. And I'm hoping that they have a sizable lead so Robbie Ashford and Davis Bevel can play on their senior day.
I love it. Lulu Kessin joins us every Thursday at 8 a.m. to talk Gamecock athletics here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Young lady, you are the best. We will talk to you next. Actually, we will, if you don't mind, I'll get with you. We may move you up in the week since we're off on Thursday for Thanksgiving because there's no way we're not previewing South Carolina Clemson, correct?
Correct. But yeah, I'm good for Monday through Wednesday.
You
so
are
let me know.
The best. Lulu Kessin for the Greenville News. Follow her on X at Lulu Kessin, Kessin. Talk to you next week, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, have a good weekend. Thank you.
You got it. Lulu Kessin for the Greenville News joins us every Thursday at 8 a.m. Let's run to a break. We'll come back here in a minute. Got a few more things to get to, including the audio blitz. No Rashad Beard this week. He's going to be, or excuse me, no Rashad Beard today. He's going to be on with us next week. Had a work meeting, so we rescheduled him for tomorrow at 8:40. Hayden As Mario at 9, Fight Club at 9:20. We're rolling, baby, on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
You see.
All right, guys, quick live, and we're coming back. Stay right there. Thank you. If you haven't seen it, James, go to the Rabbit site. Their warm-up jerseys this year, because of their affiliation with the Kings, obviously, their warm-up jersey is Stomper the Rabbit, who usually wears a hockey helmet, but he has a King's crown and his ears are down behind it. It's a great jersey. I get one personalized jersey every year as part of my deal to work with them. And this is the first year in the history of doing sports that I asked for a warm-up jersey as my customized jersey because it is dope. It's black. It's black with silver and gray. And it's got a mean-faced Stomper wearing the King's crown. It's phenomenal.
By the way, Steven, I'm off all next week. Rob is working Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
By himself.
No, you're going to have a producer, but technically you're working by yourself. You can discuss movement of something if you want during that, but that's up to you.
I will.
I'm going to talk to him. I'm not gonna not.
And for the record, I'm not gonna be a jerk.
Neither am I.
I need it to be known that I can't come in here and not have it where it was.
Tournament closes out the 2024 football season on the road Saturday at Mercer, and you can catch all the action on the fan of.
Surprisingly, I spent almost 200 hours in Dragon Age Velguard. The mid-game boss was harder than the final boss, but I had maxed out level and found a group. You get 2 people to bring with you that I liked best, so maybe that's part of it. But
The Rob Brown Show continues. It's the Fan Upstate. Rob, the Great Malonzo, and AU will be a part of the show. 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. You can text us at 71307. 71307. Start your text with Fan FAM. We'll read them on the show. Mike said, Mike from Simpsonville texted the show earlier with a question for Lulu Kesson. He texted back, said, thanks for asking. Not a problem. Anytime we have an interview on, and I mean this, anytime we have an interview on, whether it's Lulu Kesson or Rashad Beard or Denton Day or Hayton Asmario
or Orange Cassidy
or Kane, the Big Red Machine, or Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, or Jerry the King Lawler, or Mark Henry. You get the point.
I was going to say, you can't name all the wrestlers.
You get the point. Anytime we have them on, feel free to text in your questions to 71307 or ask them on the stream. I'm not promising that I will ask all of them, but if you send a good one, as Michael from Simpsonville did, I'll be happy to ask it. So just so you know, it's your show as much as it is Lonzo and mine. You know what? Let's do your audio blitz here. Some of the best audio that we have picked up over the past couple of days. I would like to start with this. Thursday Night Football last week. You know, Tony Gonzalez is a member of the panel. They had on Aldis Hodge, former NFL player. And Lonzo, these two got after it. I mean, they were butting heads in a classic dad joke contest.
What do you call a bear with no teeth? A gummy bear.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
What did the mayo say to the refrigerator? Close the door. I'm dressing.
That's funny. That's good.
I got it. Oh, I'm sorry. I accidentally rubbed ketchup in my eye. Now I'm hindsight. Oh, my God. Clever.
Hold on.
He's just an actor, Tony.
What happened to the rainbow that broke the law? You went to prison. It was a light
You
sentence.
just lost.
Okay, I got one more. Let's do one more.
Oh, you want it?
Last one.
Okay, Al
I think this is a good one. You're going to like this one.
Oh, you're gonna like this.
What kind of bees make milk? Boobies.
Oh, Jesus.
Come on! Boobies. I'm done.
Got him.
Come on, that's good.
I'm going to keep it a buck. That might be my favorite dad joke of all time.
Yeah, of course.
Might be my favorite dad joke of all time.
Right next to the Prism one.
What
Because
kind
you're
of
like one of the few
bees-
people who actually got the Prism one.
You laughed.
No,
You
I
laughed.
got it.
You laughed.
Yeah, I got it.
Why'd you laugh? Because it's hilarious.
It's also it was so deep that some of the people were like, "What?"
Because it is hilarious. All right. That, Alyssa, I would say what kind of bee makes honey? Boobies. That borders uncle joke, right? That's borderline uncle joke.
Yeah.
That's a joke I tell my nephew, and then I laugh when I walk away
I hope
because he's
not.
going to repeat it to his dad, and I can't get in trouble for it.
I hope you don't. Dude.
Oh, I absolutely will.
Dude, come on.
I absolutely will.
I mean, at least wait till he's 10.
That's genuinely hilarious. All right. So anyway, dad jokes, Alonso. You ask every time, is that a dad joke? All of those were dad jokes. Borderline uncle joke with the boobies. Okay. So there you go.
I think the delivery was
classic.
very good. Yes.
Classic. The game is you tell dad jokes back and forth, and whoever laughs first loses, and they killed it. You know who else killed it? I'm going to play this clip. This is Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter was being interviewed by ESPN2's Kevin Clark on a podcast. I'm going to play this for you, and I'm going to tell you that I'm going to break a radio rule here. Great one, because there's some quiet parts, some tension building between.
You talk about dead air.
Not really, because you can, like Schefter as a veteran broadcaster, you can hear him making noises so that it's not dead air. There's some pauses though, and there's a wonderful reason here, because Adam Schefter got asked a question that I never would have thought to ask, and also a question I've never wanted an answer to more than this. And Shefty's like, YOLO, I will answer the question.
Weirdest place you've broken a story is what?
I can remember being in Denver one time, and I was how do I say this? I had just spent time with this woman for the first time.
Yeah. Okay.
And
sure.
And got a text that Dale Carter was being suspended. I think it was for 8 games for substance abuse. And so as I continue to lay there, confirm it, and got the job done, Kevin, in every which way.
Shefty, I just need to put this out there. From this point forward, until Adam Schefter one day hangs up the notepad and retires into the abyss. Zoe, if there is ever a point in time where news breaks overnight and you get a late night tweet from Adam Schefter, just know that there is a non-zero chance that Shefty just completed the boom boom. There's a non-0% chance that Adam Schefter has just coitused. That Adam Schefter has just been engaged in what we like to refer to as ART, adult recreational time. Shefty took a break from spending time with the young lady to send a tweet to let you all know that Dale Carter had caught an 8-game suspension. That is a man committed to the gig. As a texter just said on the text line, Shefty got that dog in him. That's good work, Adam Schefter. Thank you for sacrificing. He got to know this young lady biblically, and then he let us all know. Breaking news around the NFL. What a bro. What an absolute bro. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Rob Brown Show. What do you want to talk about? Good, because I was worried. After your coitus thing, I was thinking.
This is the nicest way
Listen,
to say what I said.
I get it. It doesn't sound good on the air. That's all I'm saying. It just doesn't.
Give me another way I could have said that that's less radio friendly than coitus.
Oh.
I mean, I said Shefty did the boom boom, and I feel like that's worse.
No, I don't think it is. I don't.
Sunday, the Panthers put a 2-game winning streak on the line at home against the Chiefs. Rookie running back Jonathan Brooks and Adam Thielen both will week to play on Sunday. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Up to the minute, upstate traffic. The Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows Highway 276B Hollis is stacking up time about Highway 39 and I-385. Wayhampton is slow to stop and go from 276 to 385. That whole area is a mess. Meanwhile, southbound 85 plugs up at 290 East Main Spartanburg and doesn't let up until you pass Pelham. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on the Fan Upstate.
New Life Weight Loss is having a huge Black Friday sale now through December 6th with $500 off their most popular programs. Get the lowest prices of the year on this incredible life-changing program. New Life Weight Loss knows the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day with no exercising, no prepackaged meals, no counting points or calories, no drugs, no injections or surgery. And you can start the program before, during, or after the holidays. No more losing weight and gaining it back. You will keep the weight off for good with this program. Go to mynewlifeweightloss.com for details. Hey, it's Rob Brown. Listen, I dropped over 50 pounds and a foot off of my waistline with New Life Weight Loss because they made the program easy. It was satisfying and fulfilling. So when I got to my goal weight, it was easy to stay on the program and stay at that goal weight. Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. That's half a pound to a pound per day. For your free consultation with a personal health coach in person or virtually, call 864-719-2550, 864-719-2550, or visit mynewlifeweightloss.com.
Open enrollment is here. Don't be frustrated by having to choose your health plan on your own. Visit scbluehereforyou.com to schedule an appointment at the South Carolina Blue Retail Center on Woodruff Road in Greenville. Casey and his local licensed health insurance experts can help you find a Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina plan for 2025 that fits you and your budget. Schedule a no-cost appointment today at scbluehereforyou.com. The magic of Christmas comes alive at the Upstate Holiday Light Show, open Thanksgiving through December 31st at District Park at the intersection of 123 and 153 in Easley. Start a new Christmas tradition for your family this year. For holiday light shows and tickets, visit upstatelights.com.
Restrictions used in online consultation with healthcare provider will determine appropriate restrictions apply. See website for details and safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Urologist, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS.
Something we all learn about at some point in time, Joey B. A realistic reality.
Right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for you through a 100% online process. It starts with a free...
Adam Schefter doesn't need this commercial. Oh, that cracked me up.
By the way, you don't know that for sure. This was a while ago.
That's also true.
The story was a while ago.
That's true. I don't know. I feel like breaking NFL news might be Shefty's kink. You know,
he's married.
Might be what he's into.
He's married now, and I think he was reluctant to tell the story.
I was gonna say
because he's married now.
Do you tell that story as a married man? I think I almost kind of feel
Again,
like I have to.
That's why I think the reluctance was.
Yeah.
I don't think he was embarrassed.
It was less
about,
like how many nights am I sleeping on the couch if I tell this story?
Yes. I think you guys are going a little too far.
Oh man, yeah, it's just locker room talk, right?
Yeah, but not in the locker room right now. More like on the field.
Oh man, I really got to talk the bosses into letting me have a late night stream. I want to end up being Odyssey's answer to McAfee show.
You can stream anytime you want.
No, I know that. I just don't know if the boss will let me go full Rob Brown on a stream.
One way to find out. Go for it. It's Thursday night. Do your thing. See what happens.
I'm going to do that because now I have you on tape giving me permission to do it. I'm going to say, hey, Lonzo's a manager. He gave me permission. He is HR. I've been told.
Well, according to those Odyssey training videos, yeah.
I think I'm gonna forgive Adam Schefter for his I break the news as the NFL owners ask me to story from a couple of years back. Right? You remember that? The memo got out that
Yeah, I'm never forgiving him for that, but you go ahead.
I know you're not, but I am. The fact that Shefty, who by the way, is married now, when was that Dale Carter story? Do we know? I feel like I gotta go find out. Dale Carter suspended substance. That story. Dadgummit. I typed that in, and every Google search result, Lonzo, is just a write-up of Shefty telling this story on a podcast. Like, I can't find out when Dale Carter was suspended because the entire internet is just talking about Adam Shefty saying, yo, I Marvin Gayed a little bit, and then I broke some NFL news while we were in the blissful afterglow, so to speak. It's an incredible story from Shefty. I love it so much. I really do. All right, good on Adam Schefter.
All right, it looks like it was February of 2000.
2000? All right, that's fairness. How old is Shefty now? Adam Schefter age. Because I got to think, Shefty's what? He's got to be sitting on, he's 57? Damn, Shefty.
Yeah, so he's older than me.
He's 57? Lonzo, we got to get in the gym or something, dude. We got to get in the
something.
gym.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. I genuinely thought Shefty was like early
What's
50s.
his wee stuff? You're not like, he's not a year older than you. He's like,
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. All
I
right.
thought he was like, I genuinely thought Shefty was closer to my age than yours, respectfully. He was 33 when this story happened.
was that a negative statement that you just?
That's fair.
I mean,
That's
I don't
fair.
know.
That's fair. I really thought he was like closer to like 46, 47, which would have put him in his late or early to mid 20s. This story happened when he was 33, which for the record, cool. Like,
Yeah,
good on
I
Adam.
thought he was late 40s. So yeah.
Good on Adam. My man was tweeting through the post game, if you will, back in the day at 33. That's pretty
And you're
admirable.
like, who would want to be with a football nerd? Like, I mean, you just don't see Adam Schefter having a game. I mean, do you? You look at that guy and go, that's a player. No, you don't do that.
I mean, listen, I gotta give Shefty credit. In fairness, I don't think Shefty was being underpaid at 33 years of age, right? Like
So now,
Lonzo,
so now you're making it sound like he paid for
listen,
something.
you gotta have if you want to be able to be in a spot where you're working through the boom boom period, all right, where you've completed the activity of the evening, and then you're like, hey babe, got to get back to work. I appreciate your effort. Good game out there. Slap on the backside. Good work today. I applaud your participation in this particular event, but I got to get back to work. You got to have one of two things.
You're making it sound like that his activity was lengthy. You don't know.
I don't know. I am saying you got to have one of two things.
He could
You either gotta
have
have-
put the phone aside for a minute and a half, and then he's back to work.
Maybe so. I'm not here to judge. Listen, regardless of his performance in the activity, Shefty was very clearly engaged in said activity. All right. And for the record, do you think
allegedly? Yes.
Here's the thing. Shefty's not as a married guy, unless him and his wife are into the alternative lifestyles, in which case, hey, live your best life. Do what makes you happy. All right. It's your world. I'm not here to judge. Unless Shefty and his wife are into that, that element of the life.
I am. Go back to Utah.
I'm not talking about polygamy. I'm talking about the swinger lifestyle. All right.
Which technically is still kind of.
No, it's not. It's very different things. Polygamy is marriage to multiple people. Swinger is Sheftying with many other people. All right.
But no,
And again,
you shouldn't say that because you're implying that he was.
No, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
doing
okay.
the boom boom is now referred to as Sheftying on this show. All right. It's being added to the Rob Brown Armada lexicon. If you doing the boom boom is now Sheftying. You know, me and the wife, we went out last night, a couple glasses of wine, had a steak dinner, went home, did the Shefty. All right. The unskinny bop is out. The Shefty is in.
The unskinny bop was never in.
It blows you away. Okay. The point here is Shefty as a married man, unless he's into that lifestyle, Shefty as a married guy doesn't make this story up. This isn't a story he BS's as a married man. Yeah, one time when I was 33, I broke some Dale Carter news in the buff next to a girl. Like, you don't do that as a married guy. Again, unless your wife's just like totally fine and down with that life.
You do that as a married guy if you're hanging out with the guys.
You don't do it on a nationally carried ESPN podcast. You do that you're right. You do that with the boys down at the local dive when there is the unspoken bond betwixt all of you of, hey, whatever absolute and entirely made up stories we tell each other, they stay here, right? You tell the story of your conquest of yesteryear in full confidence with the fellas at the dive bar, but not outside of it. And the story that your boy tells you at the dive bar, the dive bar is more what happens here stays here than Las Vegas. Vegas got the what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas slogan. That should be true of the bar with the boys, all right? So that story is not a story Shefty makes up on an ESPN platform of all places. If he's not like, hey, you asked the question, I got to be an honest guy here. I've already gotten in trouble once for making stuff up. I've already gotten in trouble once for letting other people dictate the stories that I tell. So I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. At 33 years of age in Denver, Colorado, post doing the Shefty. I broke the story about Dale Carter getting suspended for 8 games while I was still, shall we say, spending quality time with my partner for the evening. That's just good work from Shefty. Just good work. All right, we got about a minute here. About 2 minutes left to go. Lonzo, there's a question that is going around right now within the wrestling circuit. And if it's got time in Fight Club, if not, real quick answer here. But they're asking questions of professional wrestlers that go on a podcast.
You're in the bar, 50 guys who don't want you in there. But we need you to pick 4 guys to team up with to make sure you guys get to the car and out of that bar.
Ming, number 1. Brock Lesnar, number 2. Kurt Angle, number 3. I don't think I need 4.
That's Eric Bischoff's answer.
I was going to ask you who. I knew the voice sounded familiar.
Here's Swerve Strickland's answer.
At a bar, there's a large number of people there.
There's a grip of cats
that don't want you in there. You need to pick 4 other wrestlers that if these guys are with me, we get into the car.
I'm bringing Kingston.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Kingston.
Shout out Eddie Kingston.
Kingston, he's dirty. He fight dirty.
Yeah.
I like that.
But Eddie's going to have the Timbs on. Stomp somebody in the ribs with the Timbs. So
I need somebody who's going to move the crowd, move the people. So Samoa Joe.
Man, that's Joe. You done made it twice.
Like, you look at Joe wrong, you just know that you lost already. That's how it is. Like, I'm a big guy, and I need a wing. Who's gonna come around side? Like, I need a quick. Like, Darby gonna throw his body at somebody. He's gonna jump off the bar on somebody. He's gonna hit.
And Darby wearing them thick boots too. You don't want to get kicked with them.
Like, Darby's scrappy. You can't hurt a Darby.
Yeah,
The most frightening person in the world to fight is the guy who just don't feel pain. It's going to be coming at you.
Hit me, man! Shout out Jake Hager.
Okay, that would make sense.
Shout out Jake Hager,
All-American wrestler.
He got reach too.
Oh yeah!
Shout out Jake.
So there you go. Eddie Kingston, Samoa Joe, Darby Allin, and Jack Hager. Not a bad 4. Here's Mark Henry's answer.
You're in a bar, all right? A huge bar with over 100 people in it, okay? It's you and 4 other wrestlers. Y'all got to fight your way out and get to the car. Who are the 4 people you taking with you?
I'm definitely going to take Kurt Angle.
Makes sense.
I'm going to take Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
Now we're talking. You could probably stop there.
Kurt and Brock and Mark Henry.
I'm going to take Shelton Benjamin.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Okay.
And Sean O'Hare.
Sean O'Hare.
That's a throwback
All
reference.
right, so you didn't notice he picked all-American wrestlers.
Sure did.
Everyone he picked
Sure did.
was people who can grapple. That's
Sure
what he did.
Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you right now. His is the worst 4. Even if I go all in their prime, his is the worst 4. Not Brock Lesnar, but the worst 4 because grappling with multiple, that's not going to win you the bar fight. You got to strike and move. You got to hit and get. I got to tell you right now, I think it's either. I think Bischoff might win because of the stories I've heard about Ming, who apparently was just a terrifying individual, not as a character, as a dude. But I think Swerve won this because he's got guys that hit and move. I got to get out of the bar, hit, move. Hager's the right pick there.
Yeah.
Because it's strike and it's get back. Brock's in the case for the same reason.
I think Mark Henry just planned on staying at the bar. So those are guys like they're just taking out the bar and they're just staying there.
He's the definition. I forget what movie is. Well, there's a movie. It's a mob movie from back in the day, and one of you will remember and text me when you know what it is. But there's a mob movie where there's the mob's at the bar. And a biker gang comes in and they're giving the guy hell. And there's like 8 or 9 biker guys in there. And the mafia guy rolls into the bar and he's like, hey, y'all got to go. They don't leave. He walks over and he locks the door with the biker gang inside. And they're like, you just locked the door. And he goes, yeah, but what you don't realize is you're locked in here with me. And like, that's Mark Henry's team. But again, being a great grappler.
That's Mark Henry's team. Why we got to leave? That's what I think.
That makes sense if there's like 8 dudes versus 4. It's not going to work if there's like 50. I need hit and move. I'm going to go Swerve's team. No, I'm going to go Bischoff's team first, Swerve second, Mark Henry third. Even assuming they're all in their prime. I like this game. We may have to play this game again later. Because we haven't given our 4. We got to give our 4.
Mark Henry.
Is Brock in your 4? It's got to be. Brock's got to be in the 4. Prime Brock Lesnar's got to be in the 4.
I don't know. If I'm leaving, I'm going Andre the Giant. I'm going
You're leaving slow as hell with Andre's big ass.
I'm going the Big Show, and I'm going King Kong Bundy. And you know what I'm doing? I'm standing in the middle of them, unscathed, and I'm walking out the bar.
You're going just pure intimidating.
No, it said get out of the. I mean, if you're in the middle of those guys, you ain't getting touched.
Yeah, but there's a number that even big dudes are getting taken down by X amount of dudes just hanging on. My question is, who's hitting and moving? Lesnar's in that list for sure. All right, we may come back to that later in the show. Maybe tomorrow. It's Friday. Who knows? We get weird. Hayden Ask Mario up next. Fight Club after that. Then we wrap up the show with your phone calls and text. All coming up after Lonzo charms your pants off. Shefties with this sports flash.
It's so weird. I mean, it's just so nasty. UConn women's head coach Gino Auriemma earned his 1,217th win last night and became the winningest basketball coach in NCAA history, passing Tara Vanderveer, who retired in April. Auriemma adds the title to an impressive career of 11 national titles, 23 Final Four berths, 6 undefeated seasons, and win streaks of 98 and 111 games. That's pretty good. Atlanta Braves starting pitcher Chris Sale was named the National League Cy Young Award winner last night, awarded the league's best pitcher by Baseball Writers of America. Sale's comeback season received 26 of 30 first-place votes ahead of Zach Willer's 4. Sale finished 18-3 with a 2.38 ERA and 225 strikeouts. Tune in this Friday at 7 p.m. as the Burns Rebels continue their run in the playoffs against the Spartanburg Vikings. It's Burns versus Spartanburg right here on The Fan Upstate. Spikenburg will be a pretty cool place to live, I think. There you go, Stephen. If you're wanting to get out of that place, who says you have to fight? If you're rolling with those guys, everybody stands up. 50 guys might go, never mind. I don't need none of that.
I tell as many people as possible. I am an ambassador. I love QC Kinetics. QC
QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. No drugs, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772. 864-448-3772.
Welcome to Spa Libic Home, where stress melts away with a pairing of rich smoky bacon and delicious bourbon. Take in the smoky, salty, delicious aroma of bacon and taste the vanilla and caramel notes of bourbon. Picture yourself in a world of nothing but bacon and bourbon. Imagine mounds of bacon, rivers of bourbon, and flavors to delight your taste buds. That world exists. Well, kind of. The 5th annual Bourbon and Bacon Fest is back at the Foundry of Judson Mill in downtown Greenville, Friday, January 17th. Incredible distilleries from all over the country will pour dozens and dozens of bourbons you know and love, while ticket holders taste quirky treats from incredible local restaurants. VIP, general admission, and designated driver tickets are on sale now. Bourbon and Bacon Fest. Benefits Carolina Adoptive Golf, serving veterans and individuals recovering from physical or mental trauma. Bourbon and Bacon Fest. Friday, January 17th at the Foundry. Get tickets now by texting BACON to 72341 or visit bourbonandbaconfest.com. Text and date rates apply.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable Centipedes going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears.
Did you send him a thing?
Yeah.
There he is. Here's the other thing. You know, if you just want straight up brawlers, I'm going APA and Road Warriors.
APA is a good pick. Road Warriors is a good pick.
I mean, because that's those
You
guys
think
are.
the Road Warriors were legitimate fighters, though?
Yeah. Have you not watched behind the scene?
not.
They were bar bouncers,
Okay.
that type thing. Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you who I wouldn't ask to help get me out of a bar fight. Mario.
What?
You ever been in a fight?
Sadly, yes.
Did you win?
Probably.
Or did you
1%.
not lose?
I did not. Yeah, a couple of them I did not lose, but I definitely got the worst.
I think
end of
the
stick.
goal in every fight isn't
All
to
right,
win.
here's the
goal is to
thing.
not
Rob
lose,
Rob
right?
has said many
survive.
times on this show that he's never been in a
Never
fight.
been in a fight. Got no interest in it.
So,
Seems
I
like it would
mean,
hurt a lot.
Yeah. Well,
But-
if you win, it hurts the other person.
It's not like a glorious thing here. Like it's not like when I always tell people, like it's not like in the movies when like you like win it and everyone looks at you like really really cool. It's like everyone looks at you like you're a psycho. It's not like a good feeling.
Although one of the last fights I was in, I did the sweetest fireman's carry I'd ever done in my life because he telegraphed and he came up like that. And my mom was standing on the porch. I was in high school and she yelled, "If you don't kick his butt, I'm kicking yours." So I mean, there's
Yeah, at that
pressure.
point you had
There's
to.
pressure. And the dude was kind of lumbering and he kept picking on me. He threw an overhand. I grabbed his hand, fireman's carried him into the gravel, and it could have been a whole lot worse for him if I was a mean person. Wrestling works if it's applied right.
The old man taught me, if you can avoid fighting at all costs. But if you have to fight, do whatever it takes to win.
Yeah.
I was
I gotta
doing what
go
my
to
mom said. I mean, my mom told me to. I mean, yeah.
If you want to, let's tell later.
The final hour of the Rob Brown Show on a Thursday AM starts right now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the Great One Lonzo with you. And every Thursday AM at 9 a.m., we head up to the lovely city of Washington, D.C. The District of Columbia is where we find our next guest. He is the former executive producer of Bet for the Cycle, which airs on the BetQL Network every Saturday from noon to 4 with former Major League Baseball player Cody Decker and myself. He is the executive producer of BetMGM Tonight, which you can hear right here on this and find Odyssey stations worldwide from 7 till 11 p.m. every single weeknight. And he is an NFL and NBA betting analyst for the BetQL Network. Ben Mario Heron, a.k.a. Hating Ass Mario, joins us here on the show. What's up, big dog?
Benjamin.
Sorry. Benjamin.
Wow, you just used what
I
are
need
you,
you to
what
know
are you
it's
doing?
It's because I was looking at his email and his Twitter handle, which is his Twitter handle is that. So that's my bad. I hope I didn't just blow your Bruce Wayne cover.
No, I mean I don't care. It's I always felt smart growing up, by the way. That was a good sneaky thing, having a longer first name, as I always knew how to spell Benjamin. So I'm like, you know how to spell Benjamin? And they go, no? I'm like, yeah, but I do. That's how you get the good grades.
By spelling your own name correctly.
Yeah. Gotta stay one step ahead.
Would you put an I in there or an A? I'm talking to Rob.
Yeah.
I mean, Benjamin is not an easy name to spell. You would think it would be.
Is that why you guys spell out OHIO all the time to prove to everybody how smart you are?
No, it's so Michigan people can understand who they're playing.
Hey, Naz Mario joining us here on the show to talk a little NFL. We may sprinkle in some NBA at the end. We'll see if we have the time. Let's start with this, Mario. After this weekend, have been waiting for this moment because it feels only appropriate for me to say this to you, the host of Odyssey's Los Angeles Chargers podcast within our NFL podcast network. I feel like I owe Jim Harbaugh some flowers. I feel like I owe Jim Harbaugh an apology because I said, for the record, I did say I think he can be successful in Los Angeles. I just thought it was going to take a couple of years, kind of find the rhythm in the routine, get back to having the NFL mentality, not the college mentality, to get the guys, the grown men, vets on this team to buy into what is, let's be real, kind of a hokey, goofy guy. But the Chargers got a huge win this weekend. They got 7 of them stacked up. They are absolutely a front runner in the AFC for a playoff spot. Could theoretically still win that division if they bust some folks up and get some help down the stretch. Talk to me about Jim Harbaugh and the job he's doing with your Chargers this year.
He's doing an amazing job. And it's actually the thing I give him the most credit for is bringing Jesse Minter along and changing that defense, right? Because this Chargers defense under Brandon Staley, who was supposed to be this defensive genius, was just absolutely terrible. Couldn't stop the run, couldn't stop the pass. I mean, anything you could get on this defense, you're going to get. And you look at this defense now, and I understand their schedule. Their schedule coming into this year was extremely friendly to them, right? Like I always said on our show and other shows, I would say, is this a playoff team by roster? No, it is a playoff team based on schedule. Their schedule was extremely, extremely nice for them throughout the season. But that being said, this defense, first in opponent points per game, second best in third down defense, 9th in opponent yards per play. And the most important thing, and the thing that's kind of helped them the last couple of weeks, is they're the second best red zone defense. And Chicago barely has them. It's about like 0.3% that Chicago has over them. So you can even argue that they're tied for first in that category. The defensive turnaround on that has been amazing. And that's why I credit with Harbaugh a lot. And the other thing too, on top of that, is like, this is by far the least talented Charger team we've seen in the past 3-4 years. I mean, this receiving core going into this season was ranked second to worst in the NFL, right? And then you see the development of Ladd throughout the year. I'm like, all right, Ladd McConkey's like gonna be kind of like the guy. You see Quentin Johnson kind of take steps and get better. You see a tight end group that's mostly blocking tight ends start becoming more a passing threat and somehow being weapons on screenplays that I never thought they'd be weapons on. I give a lot of credit to Harbaugh. I think the other thing too with him is I give credit on the drafting that him and Joe did. Cam Hart has turned out to be an exceptional player that they got in the 5th round. I mentioned Ladd already has been very good form. Joe Alt has been everything they wanted and more, even when people wanted, Neighbors to be taken at that spot instead of Alt. They decided to go build within the trenches. Harbaugh deserves his flowers. He's done an amazing job. And I'm excited to see where they go from here, right? Because this year is just a building block. This year's, the expectations were low. What are you going to do next year when everyone in the league knows you're coming? Everyone in the league knows that you're building something there. What do you do then?
I like it. Again, I just thought, especially for the record, I like the pick of Joe Alt. Like, I think that dude's just blue collar lunch pail offensive lineman. That's the kind of dude you build a line around to be able to make the run game work. But I think, and I don't, if you mentioned him, I'm sorry I missed out, but like even the resurgence of J.K. Dobbins when Harbaugh came in this year and said, hey, look, we're going to be a team that runs the football. Like, we know we got Justin Herbert. And I've been on the Justin Herbert fan wagon since he showed up in the league. I think that dude has the arm talent to be Joe Burrow. I just think he was stacked under maybe the worst coaching regime, maybe in the NFL, not named Urban Meyer in the last regime. But when Harbaugh came in and said, look, I believe in Justin Herbert. I think this dude can be a Pro Bowler, can be an all-timer, but we've got to be able to run the football. I was like, all right, dog. But like, he's turned J.K. Dobbins into a dude. And now all of a sudden, a team that was winning early by letting J.K. go get 120 yards and 2 touchdowns, now all of a sudden you're seeing 40 passes to 22 runs, and it still feels balanced and is working. Like I said, I spot on. I think I owe Jim Harbaugh an apology because that dude was ready to go full afterburner right out of the gate.
And to your point, too, like after the Chiefs game, we were like screaming about, we're like, hey, we're committing to the run a little too much, right? Like it was just too many moments where like you got to let Herbert go. And I know like earlier in the season, there's worries about his health. How healthy is he going to be? Is he going to be able to make it through the whole season? And that was a worry. But then they kind of come out of bye, and then you're like, oh, so we're slinging the football now. Like his first game back at halftime, he had more attempts than he's ever, had throughout the whole season. And he throws for 234. And then you're like, all right, maybe this offense is changing. Maybe like this team's changing. And then, they lost the game, but then against the Cardinals, he throws for 349. And you're like, all right, you see like there was adjustments made, which is something that the Charger fan base, and, if you're a Charger fan or just been studying the Chargers, they did not do last year, right? That was the issue, is Staley would refuse to kind of make any adjustment. Harbaugh makes the adjustment. They open up the playbook a little bit more. And I think the adjustment, too, you've seen in the past couple of weeks, and something you can make money off of, too, Herbert running. It's my favorite line in all of sports is people forget Herbert's a good athlete. He's quick. And it's like, really? The guy that's playing in the NFL that's considered one of the top 5 quarterbacks is a good athlete? Who would have thought? I would have never known that. Thanks, guys.
All right, let's get a couple of other topics in here as we roll on with Mario Heron from the BetQL Network. We have heard a chorus of folks that have bought into the belief that the Detroit Lions are the best team in the NFL, and I am one of them. I am all in. You've got a 2-back tandem of Gibbs and Montgomery that are we've talked about the thunder and lightning concept, and those 2 guys are it. Jared Goff's out there spinning the bean like he's 24 years old all over again, multiple fight. I mean, he had the one game against Houston that was atrocious. A game they still won, by the way, when he tossed 5 picks. He comes out the next week, goes for another 400-yard, 4-touchdown game. But the thing that nobody's talking about, because welcome to America, we all tune in onto the offensive side of the ball. This defense is Dan Campbell. It's gross. It's nasty. It's gritty. It's tough. It's physical. I don't know about you, dude. I just have fun watching this team at this point.
They're fun and they don't give up. Like you mentioned the Texans game, and I think that was the game where I was like, all right, I think this team's more legit, more of a championship contender than we even like thought they were, right? Keep in mind in this game, they didn't have Zadarius Smith yet. He didn't play in that game. Obviously they lost Aiden Hutchinson, so like they're a wounded team, and they did everything they could to lose that game. Like the Goff to 5 picks, at halftime you're sitting there going, you're down 23-7. You're in an away game. This is going to be tough to even come back from. Like this game's probably over. A lot of people probably went to bed. I think I even took like a, half of a bed nap and then woke up in the 4th quarter going, all right, maybe I should like lock into this game a little more and see what happens. That's a sign of a Super Bowl winning team. They can lean on anyone to win games. I think that's the scary thing, right? Like Goff, I have Goff in fantasy. It's kind of frustrating because there'll be weeks where he throws for like 150 yards. You're like, and they still won. It's because, Gibbs and Montgomery, went off for 100 yards each. And then defensively, that was like a weakness for them last year was, can the defense hold up? And then you probably even more worried. It's like, oh my God, their best defensive players out. Well, that doesn't matter. It's just still 5th in points allowed. And if you look at the NFC too, like Rob, I don't see anyone in the NFC that I'm like, oh shoot, man, they got to watch out. Commanders are still young and still like a year away from being like a legit team, I think. Eagles just have a dumb at head coach, and you never know what he's going to do, and he's too unpredictable. And I think that team's too good at losing games at the last second in the playoffs. The NFC South we'll get to in a minute, but that team's that's just woo. No one wants to win. And then the NFC North, they've proven every time that they can handle any team in the NFC North. It's clear cut for me. We did a draft last night of bets, and I drafted Lions Super Bowl because I was just like, that number's only going to get lower and lower throughout the week.
I don't disagree with that at all. Let's you mentioned it there very briefly there, and we'll get to it. That is the NFC South. By the way, the Denver Broncos, NFC South killers. They beat every team in that division, and I want to get to Bo Nix if we have time in a minute. But this division's interesting because on one hand, you had the Falcons who were flying high. They dropped one of the Saints. They turn around and get kicked in the groin by Denver the next week. In that same 2 weeks, New Orleans, team that beat Atlanta, team that was on top of the division, they turn around and they blow Cleveland out last week because Coach Riz got Riz down there in New Orleans. Look out, NFL. The Saints are back, baby, back to where they belong. Third place in that division and looking up at, hey, it's good vibes only up in here, Mario. Who wins this damn division? Because I don't even know if I care anymore.
Yeah, it's tough. The Falcons kind of had it sealed because they beat Bucks twice, and you're like, all right, you kind of just as long as you stay the course, you got it, right? And then they go, no, we want to fart around, like we want to mess around a little bit, and then they drop terrible game to the Broncos. I mean, and we'll talk about Bo Nix, but just ran out of the stadium, and then they lose the surprising one to the Saints with the new head coach, and then I was looking at their schedule. I'm like, okay, you're 6-5. And yes, you have 2 wins over the Bucks, but don't feel safe because to finish out the season, they still face the Chargers, Vikings, and Commanders. You're going to face the Chargers after a Ravens game, win or lose. Let's say they lose that game. Then that game's even more of a bigger win that they need because they face the Chiefs right after that. Then you also face the Vikings. Vikings need the wild card spot, and they're going to be gunning for it, and also are a very talented offense. And they also face the Commanders, who is a very exciting team with a lot of momentum. That could easily be 3 losses. So that puts you at 8 losses on the year. And then if you look at the Bucs schedule, you go, okay, Giants, Panthers, Raiders. All those teams want the first round pick, so we can go ahead and poop on them and move on. At Chargers could be a tough game. Let's just say they lose that game for that sake. Then you have the Cowboys, disaster again. Panthers, disaster. And then a Saints game that's always hard because it's the Saints, and then probably going to be a fight between Mike Evans and some Saints player.
Marshawn Lattimore is not there anymore, bud. We've lost our Rocky.
True.
We'll see. We will see.
But there could be something else though. But I like the Bucs in that division still. I think they can win it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna push on that. I do think. I mean, it's Baker Mayfield. Like that's your X factor. Do you get the Baker that's out there getting in a fight with T.J. Watt to complete a 4th down pass, or is he figured out by the end of the year? All right. Speaking of Bo Nix, that's another cat that I came into the year with no belief, no faith, no hope in. He goes for his first 300-yard game, 3 touchdowns against Atlanta. Is that Sean Payton bringing out the best in Bo Nix, or was that an Atlanta defense that we all knew coming into this year was going to leave a little bit to be desired, or some combination of both?
I think some combination of both, but I give more credit to Payton because I feel like every time I watch Bo Nix, he's improved somehow. And yeah, there's one-off games that look tough, right? Like obviously, like the Ravens game was a pretty brutal game for him, and that Ravens secondary is, nothing to run home about, but still a Ravens defense that can do some damage to you. But look, man, this guy's been playing great. Like I was way off on him. I thought Bo Nix was a QB that got helped because he was in the college football for 18,000 years. And then when you're in there for that long, you've seen every defense possible. It's hard to be surprised about what someone's going to throw at you. Counter to that is with him being, a 24-year-old rookie and all the experience he has, is he's mentally stronger, right? Mentally and physically stronger than a lot of the other guys coming into the league. And I think you see that in him, right? Like his ability to bounce back. I remember watching in the Charger game, that first half, I was like, dude, this guy's not it, man. Like this defense is getting all over him. They're making it, he's feeling the pressure. He's overthrowing guys. He's underthrowing guys. In that second half, I remember writing in my notes, Bo Nix can come back and win this game. Like he was just making smart decisions with the football. He was just giving what the defense was, taking what the defense was giving him, going just running the football if he needed to. he's a very well-established, smart quarterback. And with Sean Payton, that's like all he needs, man. So credit to Sean Payton, even though I don't like him. I think he's disgusting.
Hating ass Mario Heron here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. 30-second answer. Are the Cleveland Cavaliers for real? 16-1 to start the year?
I do think they're for real because I think their coach is very, very good. And I think the Celtics game was a classic spot of the in-season tournament just means more. And the Celtics Missoula really wants to be the first team to give them the first loss.
You an in-season tournament guy? Because I love it. I love it.
I do like it, but I could do without the courts.
I love the courts. Give me something different. Give me some. I want courts. I think there should be in-season cup tournament jerseys, like separate for that. Right?
I want jerseys. I want every team has to do the retro jersey for the in-cup tournament. That was my
retro new age, like City Connect style. Like I think they should stand out. Still count them in the regular season, sketty. But I love the tournament. Lonzo hates it. He despises it. He thinks it's dumb.
All right. You want to have a tournament? Make it an actual tournament. Don't go, okay, this game is going to be in it, and then 2 weeks from now, that game's going to be, and this one's going to be in it. Yeah, okay, that's how we're going to do this.
Yeah.
They
do that literally everywhere but here.
I think that it should be, if you win it, it's an automatic playoff bid. That's what I think it should be.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. That would definitely make it worth it.
Yeah,
that's playoff bid.
That's what I think they should do.
Yeah, I think there's a prize. I think you go like $1 million to every player on the active roster of the winning team and an auto playoff bid, and I think you're in there. I think that's great.
They chose the Lakers to win it last year. They're choosing Golden State to win it this year.
Golden State doesn't win it. You have to celebrate with us next year.
No, I don't.
Mario Heron for the BetQL Network, executive producer of BetMGM Tonight, which you can hear tonight and every weekday night from 7 until 11 p.m. on fine Odyssey stations everywhere. Joins us every Thursday at 9 a.m. to talk about whatever we talk about. Big dog, appreciate you. Good. Thanks for coming by, man.
Thanks for having me. And by the way, the WWE argument that I missed when I got in, we need to revisit that soon. I have some thoughts on that.
You got 4? Who's your one? You get to go one out of the gate. Who's your one wrestler you're bringing to get out of a bar fight? I'll give you one. We'll come up with the other 3 later. It's got to be Brock Lesnar. It's got to be. Everybody says Brock. It's got to be Brock.
Everyone says that. Yeah, but he's the reason why you're in the fight.
I mean, it might be true.
He's the one who started the fight.
It might be true.
But this might be a hot take after that. Ronda Rousey's my 2.
That's not a hot take. That's not a hot take, because here's the thing, like Ronda in her prime, I told Lonzo earlier, I don't want grapplers. I don't want wrestlers. I want strike and move. You got to hit. You got to get. You got to hit. You got to get. Rousey was a striker when she was in her prime in the UFC.
Okay, counter to that, though, I kind of want a little bit of a grappler, because if you see someone do a shoot and they're, like, on top of them, everyone's going, I'm all set. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, you can maybe get lucky with the crosser, but like if you go to the down to the ground, Bubba, it's over.
That's fair. That's fair. Mario Heron jumping in. We're gonna revisit this at some point. Appreciate it, big dog. We'll talk to you next week, my man.
Always appreciate it. Love you both.
You got it, my guy. Hating ass Mario Heron from the BetQL Network.
Dan Fry. I mean, the guy who we
Dan Severn's got to be in there.
Yeah. Dan right? Severn. Who headbutted a guy, what did he say, 50 times?
In one fight.
Yeah, that's the guy you want.
Yeah,
that's the guy, and said he took an asprin and went
Ken
home.
Shamrock.
There you go, those guys.
Shamrock's terrifying.
Guys who wrestled and then went to the UFC or were in the UFC and went to the
headbutting. What? I don't want the guy that's headbutting, guys. That guy's going to be out in 2 seconds.
No, not this guy.
This dude headbutted.
Not this guy.
Headbutted one Russian guy 50 times in one fight and won the fight.
Yeah.
This dude's a different breed.
He took an aspirin. The Russian guy had cranial swelling and had to go to the hospital.
Y'all come join the stream, facebook.com/The Fan Upstate, The Fan Upstate on YouTube, and we may carry this through the break. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on The Fan Upstate.
3 friends.
Stay right there. Be right back.
the restroom. The Big Show breaks the jaw of a man who told him he's not that big.
Joey Bruton says, listening while 24K in the air on a flight from Dallas City. See, my man, thanks for checking in via the Sky High Wi-Fi. Good to have you.
Haku snaps a pair of handcuffs after being maced in the eye.
Haku is just the Incredible Hulk in real life, right?
Brock Lesnar puts someone to sleep for breaking drinks over his head.
Believe that.
See, but that's grappling.
If you got put right, but that's against a dude. The concept is there are 50 guys that want to stop you from getting out of the bar. I don't think you can have a grappler if there's 50
All right.
guys.
Andre the Giant flips a car with 4 people inside of it.
I don't know if I believe that one.
Oh, I do. I do.
Now I'm just waiting for Hulk Hogan to tell the story about how he actually got out of a 50-man bar fight by himself.
Terry Funk rips a man's pants off and bites him on the butt. I don't know.
Why is that the most believable?
Yeah. All right, welcome to the Fight Club, which has been, we've been doing it for like the last half hour during breaks on the stream. You should check it out. Talking about our 4 wrestlers we would have get us out of a bar where 50 people wanted to destroy us, I suppose. And then, by the way, what's the size in this scenario? How big of a place are you in that there are 50 guys in there?
Oh, I've lots of places.
Okay,
I don't 50 people can fit into an average sized dive bar.
Yeah, but do they normally?
I mean, no, but again, I know that you despise hypotheticals, but it's a hypothetical.
No. I'm trying to add realism to the scenario. That's
I know
all.
that's not how hypotheticals work.
I mean, it could be like if you're at a festival or something.
You're in a bar. There's 50 dudes, and they don't want you to leave. Who are the 4 you're taking?
All right,
and the answer is Brock Lesnar and who else?
All right, the bars that you frequent, are there normally 50 dudes in there? That's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't have the experience, so I'm counting on you to tell me.
No, but
if
again,
that's real or not.
we're not talking about a real bar where real 50 people really are.
You're
in a bar, there's 50 people, and they all hate you. Who do you want?
I watched Roadhouse, and there weren't 50 people in there. Either version.
First off, there are absolutely scenes in Roadhouse where there are 50 dudes, but there's only like 5 that are trying to keep Swayze down and murder Sam Elliott.
Which is a mistake.
Yeah, you don't murder Sam Elliott.
Either way. I still am going to go with my final is APA and the Road Warriors.
APA is not a bad pick. Road Warriors not a bad pick. I'm still going. I'm probably going Lesnar, Ken Shamrock, because that dude. I feel like just those 2. I'm probably fine. I'm going Lesnar, Ken Shamrock. Dan Severn's got to be one. That man will just headbutt.
I know,
the
just
door
after
open.
thinking of that. He even now.
Who's the next
even
best?
Now, we interviewed him. Was it last year, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Even now, if you were with him right now, he still would be the
terrifying.
guy. Yeah.
Severn, Shamrock, Lesnar. Who's the next best MMA turned professional wrestler?
Tank Abbott wrestled for a while. Maybe you throw some Tank Abbott in there.
It's not a bad pick.
And Tank Abbott was psycho looking too, so that helped. You picture.
I feel like I do want one 7-foot intimidator though. I feel like I want one.
Or like Jim the Anvil Neidhart,
That's not a bad one.
who's got that crazy in his eyes, and you're like, nah, man, I don't.
Arn Anderson just pulls out the Glock and everybody leaves.
There you go. Or Juice Robinson. Just someone who's got that psycho look to him that people just don't want to mess with.
Darby's not a bad pick.
See, he doesn't look. I'd be more.
Darby's the dude you're afraid of, not because of his size, but just because like you break that guy's arm and he just comes for more.
That's true. All right. This is, by the way, there's a pay-per-view and a PLE if we get to them. More interested in the pay-per-view because the pay-per-view for AEW is this weekend, and neither one of us have paid attention to AEW the way we need to, which means there's a better shot that Rob could lose and end up being on the Nerf wall for Christmas. Because this will be for Christmas.
I accept the fate.
And someone is always on the wall at the Upstate Pulse annual Christmas karaoke special. Someone is always on the wall.
I accept the fight.
Okay, so let us go with the first one. Big Boom AJ versus QT Marshall.
I want you to know.
Oh, this is great because unless you know who
you know who this cat is.
Yeah, I saw something to do with Costco.
I don't get mad at influencers for like finding their niche and filling it and becoming Rich and Famous. I genuinely dislike this man. Like, I dislike him because of his influencer character. This dude and his kid and somebody else's kid got famous for just eating at Costco and making videos of it. They're obnoxious. They're not funny. They're not entertaining. They're not amusing. But apparently, this cat used to actually be a wrestler on the indie circuit and just never got a shot. He goes on to do this thing, and he's freaking jacked. I dislike this man as a person. He's gonna beat QT Marshall because you don't have this guy come in and lose this fight. I want you to know, and I mean this guy showing up in AEW has kind of got me out on AEW. And I love AEW. I have been the biggest AEW advocate maybe in professional radio anywhere. I am a big fan. But this dude showing up, combined with some of the other shticks they've got going on, I'm kind of ice cold on AEW right now.
Okay, I'm going to also go with Big Boom, and I'm also ice cold with AEW.
Which sucks.
Yeah, it does. Especially for you, because you and Joe and some other people diehard AEW guys. Because
it was finally a wrestling company that's like, hey, not everything has to be for kids. Like, we can have some adult themes in a thing that is supposed to simulate a fighting league. That's what it is, right? And they finally said, we can do some blood, we can do some sex and gratuitous violence, we can do bad words. Like, finally, it felt like a place for adult entertainment in this fictional world. And now they're like, what if we bring in a social media influencer whose favorite thing is to flex and go, boom?
By the way, they did buy a Guns N' Roses song for last night, so there's that.
I mean, again, like when they were like buying rights so that I know. But when they were like
that was
buying
for the listeners,
rights,
I know you know
for sure. When they were buying the rights to songs so that Jungle Boy could have his classic song and Orange Cassidy and all these wrestlers could have their indie walkout song, so it felt like they cared. That was awesome. I saw this and I'm like, and I got to sit through some dumbass social media influencer who eats chocolate chip cookies as his whole shtick that hasn't wrestled in 20 years, and that's what you're putting to get me hype about this card? Come on, man.
It's like WCW with Jay Leno or the Mailman.
For the record, James, no. There were videos on social from the seats of Dynamite last night where he got booed out of the gym. That's the only thing that gives me a glimmer of hope, is that the AEW fans were like, screw this guy.
All right, the next match is MJF versus Roderick Strong. I mean, MJF used to be in the title belt picture, and now he's going up against Roderick Strong. And MJF, I don't know that he's getting stale. I think he looks bored.
I think he is bored.
He signed his contract, he got his money, and now he's just not.
Well,
I mean, it's like that player in the NFL or in the NBA who gets the big money and seems to slump afterwards. That's what it feels like here.
This is,
by the way, MJF wins this.
MJF absolutely wins this. This is complete and total speculation for me, but I think he's probably disappointed because he was building this like relatively complex character that was still the heel, but he was the heel in a way that we loved him as a face. And then Adam Cole Bebe comes back and they're like, yeah, Adam Cole's just a face and MJF's the heel. I asked you that question weeks ago. I'm like, why? Adam Cole's back. Why is he the face and why is MJF the heel when Cole turned his back on MJF? And nobody has an answer. And they've tried to retcon that, but it's failed miserably.
I think it's because writing. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
So they took MJF, who was actually building this interesting, complicated character, and they're like, no, you're just the dirty heel again. And it's like, he's the best bleep talker in the game, but it feels wasted. And as much MJF's the one guy of AEW that I'm like, I'll never not tune in for this guy. And I haven't been following what's happening MJF for months now.
All right, next match, which is one of a couple that would be really, really good, I think. Jay White versus Hangman Adam Page.
This fight will slap. I am going to go with the Hangman here, just based on, again, Lonzo, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm picking these fights on social media clips at this point, right? Like just following via social media clips. But I don't think you can have Hangman lose in this spot and still be a thing. Unless it's a dirty pool ending, I think Hangman wins.
See, I disagree. I think they're building Jay White the way they need to. And I'm going to go with Jay White and the Bang Bang Gang.
Okay. I'm not going to fight back on that one.
All right. Tag teams, private party, totally different tag team. Private Party versus the Outrunners versus House of Black versus the Acclaim for the tag team championship.
When I saw the Outrunners for the first time, you will talk about the one reason I would go back to AEW? The Outrunners. They're incredible. I have so much fun watching their stupid little 80s on VHS promos, just classic 80s wrestlers that dropped into today's world. I'm a big fan. Private Party wins this match. I don't want them to.
Okay.
Respectfully to Private Party, they feel like a less interesting version of a different tag team for a reason. But I think they hang on for right now.
All right, I'm going to go with the Outrunners because I think they pushed them a bunch, and maybe Tony listens to the fans in this case.
I very much hope that you are right.
Yeah. All right. The next match, Mercedes Moné versus friend of the show, Chris Statlander.
I don't want it to. It should be Statlander, but it's going to be Mercedes Moné. They've got Stat getting her too many times right now. They did not sign Mercedes Moné to show up and not be a champ. I'm going to be honest with you. She ain't Sasha Banks. It ain't the same. It's not the same. She's just boring, bland. The promos are waste of time. The gimmicks are waste of time right now. I was super excited about her showing up, and it's been nothing since she got there. That being said, they're not going to strip her in what is official defense number 1.
She's not. The Statlander's the champ, by the way.
Oh, I thought Moné was hanging on.
No, she lost it. She lost it a while ago.
Tells you how locked in.
Here's what I think is going to happen. I think Mercedes Moné is going to hurt her foot or something, and her muscle is going to take her place in the match. And I think Chris Statlander wins. That's what I'm going with. All right, Swerve Strickland versus Bobby Lashley. I mean, I've never really liked Bobby Lashley.
I don't know why.
Yeah, it's just something about him is just not real, and it has nothing to do with the physique. I think, is it mic work? What is it? There's just something about him that is never.
Can I give you what it is? I think at least in the past is I've turned around on Bobby Lashley. I'm actually a big fan now. I didn't really like him a long time ago, and I do think that the faction he was in WWE, Hurt Business, which is now Hurt
Syndicate.
I actually really like that. I'll tell you why. Because Bobby Lashley, when he walks and talks and just is Bobby Lashley, is terrifying. Bobby Lashley, when he grabs the mic, just sounds like a dude, right? Like that's not the voice and the tone that should come out of that man. That man should grab a mic and sound like a terrifying James Earl Jones when he talks. And then he grabs the mic and he's just like another dude. He is to me, the epitome of, and this is great, putting him with MVP again. He needs a dude to do all the talking so he can come out and just slam people through the mat. He brought back the Devastator, which he hit the other night, and it was awesome. Just do that. Just be the guy who plants people through the ring and be Bobby Lashley. Okay. Bobby Lashley wins.
Okay.
I love Swerve, though.
I am going with Bobby Lashley, too, but I think Prince Nana is going to betray Swerve.
I will hate that to the core.
All right. The next match, which you care about the most, Jack Perry versus Daniel Garcia for the TNT Championship.
I want you to know, I'm a bigger Daniel Garcia guy than Jack Perry. All right. And to the point that I don't know anything about this feud.
I was being sarcastic. I know you don't
I know,
like Jack Perry.
but I need the people to know.
Okay.
I need the people to know. Jack Perry's not very good. He's not a good talker. He's an okay wrestler, but he was always better as Jungle Boy, not because Jungle Boy, because of Luchasaurus. There's nothing about him I like. I know nothing about this feud at all. I'm picking Daniel Garcia on principle. I don't know anything about the build-up, the reasoning behind it. This is a principle pick for me.
All right, I'm going to go with Jack Perry. I feel this is the one I feel the least about so far, because the Young Bucks are gone now. So does the Elite still exist? I don't know. The other match that should be probably match of the night: Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher.
Match of the night. This thing might be in consideration for match of the year.
I love Kyle Fletcher's new look. I'm glad he shaved his head. I'm glad he did all that stuff because he did look too much like Will Ospreay.
Yeah, and I'm good with that. Like I think it's a good way to separate the two. That being said, Will Ospreay's the hottest dude on the planet. Okay, that sounded weird. Will Ospreay is the most over wrestler on the planet right now. I think this is one where I probably would like Fletcher to win because it makes him feel more dangerous, but They're not going to have Osprey eating L to this.
Okay, I'm going to go with Osprey too, but it wouldn't shock me if there's like no winner. If they're just
That's
if
fair.
it's just
Yeah,
chaos.
continuation.
Yeah, and finally, the last match before we get to break: John Moxley versus Orange Cassidy for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. I'm okay with the John Moxley faction and all this stuff, but it's just the same thing over and again with a different name.
Let me tell you the truth here. I'm picking Moxley here. Now, it's very rare that in a situation.
Friend of the show, Orange
friend.
Cassidy.
I was about to get there. It is very, very rare in a situation like this that I would want to pick against friend of the show, Orange Cassidy, because we love OC. One of the nicest people we've ever met. Setting that show right there. He was spectacular on and off.
So
the air.
cool. Very cool.
Super cool guy. Sat here after we were done with the interview and talked wrestling with us for like another 5-6 minutes, just on his own, just before he left, right?
By the way, we got 2 segments with him because we normally
You
do.
did.
'Cause, yeah.
And he was phenomenal. Was great. I'm picking Mox for 2 reasons. Number 1, I think it just makes sense for him to win. Number 2, he's right. He's right. Everything that is happening in AEW right now is bad. And I mean, I'm not talking, this is that Punk, this is Phil Brooks talking to Paul Levesque, not CM Punk talking to, this is Rob Brown, the AEW fan, talking to AEW, not Rob Brown, the radio guy talking about AEW. I'm talking to you. What is happening with most of your wrestling is not good right now. I've turned cold. I'm not saying I'm out. I'm not out. I'm still here. But it's not good. To the point that John Moxley's storyline point, Lonzo, is correct in real life. That's how bad it is. You've got me rooting for the guy I'm supposed to hate. I don't like Wheeler Yuta. I think he's the most boring guy on the roster, to be honest. And I'm yet still pulling for you in this spot because it's more reflective of the reality of AEW. Back after this, talk a little football, a little what the X is going on the way out. It's the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate. Probably not talking football. When we
Well, I mean, maybe for like a minute. Went really late. It's my fault. And
no, it's mine because we went very late and started Fight Club late, and we had to get the picks in. I don't care.
Everybody misses Kenny Omega.
Here's the thing. Can I tell you my honest belief about Kenny Omega? I think he saw the writing on the wall. I do. I think he saw the writing on the wall. He's like, everything happening here is bad. I'm out. I'm going to New Japan that's been around for a century, and I'm just going to stay there. I think he saw the writing on the wall and decided.
Well, I think he said New Japan needed him more or something like that. It's like, yeah.
No, AEW needs him
Okay,
more,
whatever.
But I think he saw the writing.
By the way, I've seen your latest 4, Steven. That might be a move to make also. Distraction is a good way if you're just worried about you getting out of there. Also, you're walking out of there with those 4. So, I mean, there's that too. I don't know about you guys, and I hope you're in a situation where when you go on vacation, you don't have to do a bunch of extra work before you can go. I got to do a ton of extra work before I can go. And maybe I should lock the office door so people stop coming and talk to me. But everybody wants to talk to me, and it's like, I got work to do. And I don't want to be that guy like, you know what, guys? Like, I ain't got time. You got to go. There's some days where I'm overly popular, and I don't want to be popular this week, and I have been because I just have so much work to do to be off next week. So I am off next week. Rob is working 3 days.
You're welcome. Including Wednesday when I have to leave and then immediately get on the road down to Florida.
Yeah, you've done that before.
I know.
You could also let someone else drive.
Nope, I'm driving by myself. She's flying down on Thursday morning because she's
Ah.
got to work all day Wednesday.
Okay.
So I'm driving with the dog by myself on Wednesday. She will be down there, sure. And then her flight gets in at like 7 a.m. Thursday morning.
You're used to getting up early. I mean, come on.
Not when I don't want to, or not when I don't have to.
Can
I
you
guess.
sleep past 7?
Oh, easy.
I have to make myself,
Easy.
and if I sleep to 8,
I will say that since we moved to this time slot, what I have found is that on mornings that I am not working, I will wake up at like 4 and I'll get up and go to the bathroom, but I go right back to sleep and then I'm out till like 9.
all right, we have like less than a minute
Yeah.
before.
Just go into it
Okay.
if you've got enough,
Well, I do, and if I didn't, we can go back to the
and we can make something up.
to
Like most of my career.
the getting your 4 wrestlers getting out of the bar thing.
Yeah.
All right, time for an extended What the X, since I won't be here next week, where I will ask Rob what is going on in the world.
You do have to come here tomorrow.
And it's
still.
trending. Yeah,
Okay,
you're
I'm
right.
just making sure.
Dude, I told you. I'm just looking for
Is it Friday in your head right now?
Yeah, in my head it is, but it's
Okay.
not. It's not.
It's definitely not.
Well, thank you for the
Sorry
help
for
today.
ruining the day, but
Well, just a little bit. No, I guess I will be back tomorrow. So
I was
not
like, wait, am I solo tomorrow?
so not the final one, as far as we know.
That's fair.
This week. So the first thing that's Xing is Gary Busey.
Gary Busey. No, that's a name I've not heard in a long time. Gary Busey turns 78 today.
All right, so this is not, and this would require you to look something up, maybe even post it. I don't know.
Oh yes, I'm in already.
Gary Busey is Xing because of Boris Johnson.
Okay. I see it.
Have you seen? No, have you seen the latest thing? Boris Johnson. He's like wearing some Russian T-shirt, and his hair's like, and everyone says he does.
He looks like Gary Busey.
He absolutely
I mean, he
does.
kind of always has, right? Like
right, but he's been fairly kempt as
okay,
far as
yeah, I just saw it now. Yeah. He sent out a tweet with a picture of himself. So there's this whole thing about Boris Johnson, who apparently in real life is actually like a super genius, but he's always done this like unkempt, messy hair, goofy thing because he figured out that people don't connect to super intelligent people. It's hard, and for the record, it's hard to do. Trust me, I know. People don't connect to super intelligent people. They will connect to, well, the way Boris Johnson portrays himself to be more than the way Boris Johnson actually is. And that's why he's always gone with like the goofy hair, unflattering suit angle instead of, taking care of himself like an adult.
All right, this next one I'm going to preface with the fact that this is not political at all. Has nothing to do with politics at all. Elon Musk is Xing.
First off, I don't think there's anything Elon Musk is doing right now that's not
Yeah,
political.
there is.
Okay?
Yeah, there is. Guaranteed.
Now,
Guaranteed.
he did
You're
launch
gonna-
another SpaceX rocket
Nope,
yesterday.
Nope.
No, it's not
you're
that?
You're going to say Lonzo? You're absolutely right. All right. So he just beat Diablo 4 at 150 Paragon level in a minute and 52 seconds. And right now is if not one of the best Diablo 4 players in the world. And you can say, well, he live streams his
Oh no, I know
his
he
gaming
streams
all
yeah.
the time, and he's a big Diablo 4 fan. So again, nothing to do with politics. The fact that dude is a monster gamer, and it sucks. He's rich, he's powerful, and he's a better gamer than you are.
Do you think Donald Trump locks his bathroom door so Elon doesn't follow him in?
All right. Again, see, separate the politics from the fact that this guy has a business, does all the things he's doing, but he still makes time to be this good of a gamer.
I don't.
I think it goes back to the genius thing. Maybe his brain is always working, so he has to keep himself occupied, and maybe he just likes playing games. I mean,
I get it. Like, I can't wait till I get to a time where I own all of my time. You better believe I'm going to be a video game wizard. I'm just saying, like, we're at a point where, like, I might have a couple of hours at night that I
you
control
have
my time.
37 jobs. That's on.
I'm not saying there's not a reason for it. I'm just saying I'm at a point where I own, if I'm lucky, like, I can do whatever I want, like 2 hours of my time, and happily and willfully married. So I give that time to my wife unless she's like, I'm going to bed, in which case, yeah, I'm playing Rocket League with the boys.
By the way, yesterday I just fell asleep for a nap and you texted me. I just wanted to bust you out on the air, and I immediately.
I wonder why your response was so short.
Texted you back, and I couldn't go back. It's like that nap. If you don't hit it,
oh, it's over.
Yeah, it's done. It's like, man,
I know that.
I was right there, and why didn't I turn my phone off?
The one time I actually text.
Yeah. Also, that's how you respond to text, by the way, immediately. All right, the next thing it's texting is snow, or Xing is snow.
Snow? Is it snowing?
It's
somewhere?
snowing all over the place
okay.
right now.
All right. Not
they're showing videos. Good. Don't make that.
Oh no, listen. I'm good with the like 2 days of snow a year. I'm good with that. I can live with that.
I'm good with snow never existing ever in the world. But
it's snowing in Disneyland Paris and Belfast, Ireland. It's snowing in
England.
Oxford, England. It's snowing in I just found a video of a snow leopard kitten. Aw. That's a positive way to end the show. Snowing in Amsterdam. Snowing in nobody cares. Nobody cares about this.
Apparently, everyone cares. That's the reason why it's Xing right now.
James said, "Jon Snow, the rapper Snow."
By the way,
all valid snows.
One last thing that's Xing: Pacheco.
Isaiah, I believe, makes his return this weekend. John Brooks, I believe, is going to play for the Carolina Panthers this weekend. We get a matchup.
We'll see who's the most impactful. Sunday.
Yeah, we will. All right, coming up on tomorrow's edition of the show, obviously our entire football breakdown for the weekend. We will look up and down the NFL and college football schedules. Rashad Beard will join us tomorrow at 8:40 to break down the Panthers and how John Brooks and Isaiah Pacheco will impact that game. That's on tomorrow. Y'all have a great day. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. We'll see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later.
Take it easy, champ. Why don't you stop talking for a while? Maybe sit the next couple plays out.
Yeah, and I have to hesitate because I don't know when it ends. And I almost pushed the button twice. It's like, when's this thing over? No. It's Isaiah.
Isaiah Pacheco.
I don't know. Does Kareem Hunt stay and then like P. Ryan be gone, or do they keep all their running backs?
I'd go all three.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been like on IR.
I was going to say, he's been
yeah.
on the side of a milk carton.
Yeah.
Is he banged up?
I don't know. I got a feeling that probably not, but you know. And you also got Gata.
Yes.
Steele.
Tell you what, you guys let him go. I'll take him in New Orleans.
Oh, they're not going to let him go. He's a special teams player.
Yeah.
And if you want a fullback, he's your guy.
Or you know what he is? He's y'all's Taysom Hill. He's gonna do whatever
For sure.
He's y'all's Taysom Hill.
Not as good as Taysom Hill yet, but maybe someday.
There is no Taysom Hill as good as Taysom Hill being Taysom Hill. That's just a fact.
He could just stay healthy. He's the difference.
Oh, for sure.
For the Saints.
For sure. For sure. All right, y'all. We up out of here. Gotta go. Wesley said he thought it was Friday. People, do you not own calendars? Come on, Wesley.
Got calendars everywhere. It just feels like Friday to me.
Steven, you are wonderful. All right. You're all wonderful people.
You saying it don't feel like Friday?
It does not feel like Friday to me.
Feels like Friday. course, it felt like Friday yesterday for me. So, I mean,
I'll tell you what, if the Chiefs win the playoffs, but it's because Gator Steele is the player of the game, I'll be a Chiefs fan for that day. Not a Chiefs fan. I'll be a Gator fan.
I'm tempted to get his jersey.
You know what I need to pull? I need to pull some of the clips from the other guys where they're talking about Will Smith when he was a pimp named Gator.
Not Will Smith.
I mean, Will Ferrell.
Yeah. Because I've been a totally different.
He was
movie.
a pimp named. I was a pimp named Gator. What
Movie.
was your name? Pimp named Gator.
You were a pimp. Wasn't a pimp. Gator needs his cat.
That movie's so good.
There
All
you
right,
go.
we're
You-
out of here.
You did it again. I don't know what you're talking about.
That is
Love
maybe
Mike-
the greatest Michael Keaton
Yeah.
role ever.
Yeah. I love it. He's dying. He's actually dying. Keaton was great in that.
Aim for the bushes. Aim for the bushes. Oh, that is. I'm not a big Will Ferrell fan, but the other guys is
What do you even do here,
all-time
Bob?
classic. You guys haven't done a desk pop? Not a real cop until you've done a desk
I'm a
pop.
peacock. You've got to let me.
You've got to let me strut. Oh, now I have to go watch other guys again.
It's one of those. If it's on, I'm watching.
Oh,
it,
yeah.
Just because it's just
The scene
and
where
when they're
Rock,
watching Jersey Boys. They got us again.
the scene where Rock and Samuel L. Jackson jump off the roof has got to be one of the most WTF movie scenes of all. I went into that movie just assuming that Samuel L. Jackson and Rock were the guys, that Donnie and Will were going to be the other guys too. And that scene is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. All right, now we're for real out. Have a good day. Thanks for being here. You're all amazing. Tell your friends about us. We want to be rich. Goodbye.
Screw that up because I can't count.